Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for the May 20th meeting of the Board of Supervisors. And I'll call the meeting to order now and roll call, please.
Mr. Holroyd?
Present.
Mrs. Knoll?
Here.
Mr. Drury?
Present.
Mr. Roan?
Here.
Mr. Shepherd?
Here.
Madam Chairman, you have a quorum.
Thank you very much. The invocation this evening will be delivered by Pastor Walter Johnson from the Zion Prospect Baptist Church, a gentleman that I've known for a long time. Thank you so much for coming, Walter.
Let us pray. Eternal and gracious Father, we thank you for life and the abundance of life. We thank you for your grace and mercy that keep us each and every day. We pray, God, that you will guide and direct us in all that we do and all that we say. We come not out of form nor fashion, but we come out of the sincerity of our heart to do the things that are pleasing and acceptable unto thee. I ask now, God, that you be with this group, this Board of Supervisors, and all that are present, that we might do the things that will give your name the glory, the praise. Thank you, God, for it is in your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very, very much.
Pastor Walter, where's your church located in case somebody wants to come visit?
You don't know?
No, sir. I go to Bethel Baptist.
408 Darby Road,
Okay.
right
Great.
down there. We're the
Appreciate
only
it.
one down there. Come on down to see us.
Okay. Sounds good.
The doors of the church are open.
Excellent.
Always.
God bless you, always.
Thank you. Tonight, we're honored to have the Boy Scout Troop 123 with us. And for the Pledge of Allegiance, Silas Cooper will lead us in the pledge. Please stand if you're able. Thank you. We have a lot of our youth in the audience tonight because it's a very special evening. It's when we do the Outstanding Youth Awards and quarterly report from the Youth Commission. Tonight, I think, Donya Baba Jonah, I got your name
Just call him
wrong.
Donnie.
I tried. No, let me say it again. I'm going to say it again because it's better if I don't look at the way it's been phonetically done. Donya Baba Jonah. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better.
Okay.
No, but thank you. Thank you for trying. That's the best thing. Okay, let's get started. Good evening, board members, fellow youth commissioners, fellow parents, teachers, Boy Scouts. My name is Donnie Babajanov. I am a student at, sorry? Okay. I am a junior at Tab High, and I just wanted to come here tonight to give you a quarterly presentation for what the York County Youth Commission has been doing this semester and to present our Outstanding Youth Awards tonight. To begin with, our motto is York County Youth Commission, YCYC, Your Community, Youth Community. It's just some of the few goals that, just some of the key goals that the York County Youth Commission has are to participate and offer community service opportunities, conduct student surveys, and, well, contribute to the common good of the community in all that we do. Recently, we had we recently got to do the Outstanding Youth Awards. We got Mr. Roan and Mr. Richardson from the school board, as well as fellow youth commissioners Jacob Corbett and Sander Gansu to take a look at the applications and select the winners. The Outstanding Youth Award was created in 1990 by the Board of Supervisors upon a youth commission petition. And since then, the county has recognized 4 outstanding high school students in the 4 core criteria. These core criteria are community service, courage, community service, compassion, courage, and overall achievement. With that being said, I will begin by inviting my fellow commissioner and last year's winner for the Outstanding Youth Award for Community Service, Eddie Zhu, to announce our first winner.
Good evening, everyone. Allison Eco has been chosen by the selection committee to receive the 2025 Outstanding Youth Award for Community Service, which she demonstrates through her commitment to volunteerism and devoting herself to improve the lives of others. Allison exemplifies a York County youth dedicated to donating her time and energy to help her community however she can, working with numerous organizations to volunteer and support multiple populations of York County. She has volunteered the past 3 months with the York County Parks and Rec Division through her Safety Town Camp, teaching rising kindergarten students important safety concepts. She has utilized her passion for art to paint murals on her local church in a variety of community schools, and furthermore, has volunteered to assist with middle school-aged art classes. She volunteers her time to help Seaford Elementary teachers prepare their classrooms each summer and to help tutor fellow students in algebra and AP statistics. However, Allison's passion to donate her time does not solely focus on the community, but rather at her local school as well. Allison is a member of the National Art Society, the National History Honor Society, the National Honor Society, and the National Honor Society. She has played volleyball and basketball throughout her career and has volunteered at several school events such as homecoming carnivals and clay and paint nights. Allison, on behalf of the Board of Supervisors and Youth Commission, we would like to publicly recognize you as the most worthy Outstanding Youth Award recipient for community service. We extend our sincere admiration and respect for your exemplary community service. The Board of Supervisors and Youth Commission's best wishes go with you as you continue to use your time and talents in great service to our community.
Where is she?
We will now show Allison's thank you video.
I'd like to thank everyone who helped make this award possible. I'd like to thank my parents for helping me develop a strong moral compass, for modeling attributes like kindness, respect, and discipline. I would like to thank my Nana for nominating me for this award. I would like to thank the committee who voted and appointed me this award for all of the time and effort that they put into making it possible. I would like to thank my community, my friends, and my family for supporting me and for making community service so enjoyable. I'm very grateful for this award. I plan on using it towards higher education as I attend BPCC in the fall and hopefully VCU in the future, pursuing a career in social work.
This one. Thank you. Come on. You're going to get another award, and thank you so much. Here you go. Get your picture taken. Good job.
I would now like to invite fellow Youth Commissioner Natalie Moss to present the next award.
Anastasia Broderinko has been chosen by the selection committee to receive the 2025 Outstanding Youth Award for Compassion, which she exemplifies by her work ethic, dedication, and overall enthusiasm for helping others. Anastasia was nominated 5 times across 3 of the 4 Outstanding Youth Award categories, demonstrating the effect she has had on various family members, teachers, counselors, and community members. Arriving here from Russia approximately 4 years ago, Anastasia wasted no time involving herself in the community. She has volunteered over 300 community service hours to the Peninsula Community Chapel, served on the Teen Advisory Board for the Tabb Library, founded the Tabb High School Photography Club, and volunteered as an intern at Tabb Elementary School. However, it is the specific details and effort that Anastasia applies to her various commitments that demonstrate her true compassion. At her church, she works as a child care worker to assist families and engage children in various activities. On her own time, she offers to babysit for families in the community and has established herself as a trustworthy individual that cares about the kids that she works with. After school, Anastasia volunteers at Tab Elementary School. She dives headfirst into any project or task that the school needs and has been complimented on her dedication, effort, enthusiasm, and initiative. She helps fifth graders with their morning show, and she works individually with a first grade student that immigrated from Ukraine this year. Anastasia knows from personal experience how difficult it is to arrive from a different country. She speaks the native language, whereas the student did not speak English when they first arrived. Anastasia goes above and beyond at every opportunity and demonstrates her true unselfishness, compassion in everything she does. Anastasia, on behalf of the Board of Supervisors and the Youth Commission, we would like to publicly recognize you as one of the most worthy recipients as the Outstanding Youth Award for Compassion. We extend our sincere admiration and appreciation for your exemplary life dedicated to helping others. The Board of Supervisors and Youth Commissioners' best wishes go with you as you continue to use your time and talents in great service to our community. We will now show a video from Anastasia.
And I'm honored to receive the 2025 YCSZ Outstanding Youth Award for Compassion. I would like to give my thank yous to Christy Shepard, Boshavel Brown, and Michelle Morales. I would also like to thank you, my family and friends that's been supporting me throughout this whole year. Thank you to people from YCSZ community that I worked with. Thank you to those from Tab Library and Tab Elementary School. And finally, I'd like to thank the Youth Commission and Board of Supervisors for selecting me for this award. And I would like to use my money towards my future education and my career goals.
Anastasia?
Now, Anastasia, will you please come up and accept your award?
Why don't I do it this way? How about that? Congratulations again.
I will now call up Lila Harmon to the podium.
Margaret, or Maggie Annett, has been chosen by the selection committee to receive the 2025 Outstanding Youth Award for Courage, which she demonstrates through her various leadership roles and initiative. In today's society, it can be difficult to step up and speak your mind. There is a tremendous amount of social pressure to fit in, to conform to the popular opinions of your peers in your community. It takes a great deal of courage to stand up for what you believe in, and as such, become a leader. However, Maggie has never wavered in her determination, and she sets an example for all of her fellow students, friends, and a family of what a leader can be. Since her sophomore year of high school, Maggie has held both vice president and president positions in her student government. She works within the school's United Tigers group, encouraging inclusion of all students. She is the voice of reason in planning committees, reminding fellow students to think of the school as a whole, not just personal agendas. Maggie leads by example, whether it is leading cheers at football games or organizing cleanup crews, pep rallies, and dances. She steps up for her athletic teams, serving as team captain and a veteran leader of her basketball and volleyball teams. She organized a fall festival for Tab High School, a day of service to the building with other activities. Anyone that gets to know Maggie will come to learn that her attitude and courage are infectious, and she wants to make a difference. Maggie, on behalf of the Board of Supervisors and Youth Commission, we would like to publicly recognize you as the most worthy recipient of the Outstanding Youth Award for Courage. We extend our sincere admiration and respect for your exemplary spirit of courage. The Board of Supervisors and Youth Commission's best wishes go with you as you continue to use your bravery to march through life. And now we'd like to play the video for Maggie.
First and foremost, I'd like to thank God, my family, and my friends for all the endless love and support, especially through these really busy high school years. I'd like to thank especially my nominator, Mrs. Turndrup, for being an amazing teacher and mentor to me, and you've really helped me grow as an individual and as a student. I'd like to thank all of my TAB community for helping to shape who I am today. And then a special shout out to the selection committee for selecting me and also for making this award a possibility for myself and all of the other recipients. I am very grateful to have earned this scholarship as it's very important to funding my educational and career goals. As a lifelong athlete and someone who's volunteered in many different healthcare settings, I've decided that I want to become an orthopedic trauma surgeon. And next year, I will be majoring in biology on the pre-med track at Virginia Tech with the hopes of getting into medical school eventually and being able to do just that.
And now, Maggie, if you'd be willing to come up to receive your award.
And I'm learning to do it this way. That's wonderful. Good luck.
I would like to invite Jacob up to the podium.
Charles, or Charlie Kirschmeyer, has been chosen by the selection committee to receive the 2025 Outstanding Youth Award for Overall Achievement as he epitomizes excellence and superior performance in a host of endeavors. This is the third straight year Charlie has been nominated, and we are happy to announce his hard work and efforts are finally rewarded. Charlie's noteworthy academic achievements at Tabb High School include earning straight A grades with a 4.69 GPA, becoming a member of the National Honor Society, National Beta Club, and National English Honor Society, and receiving an AP Scholar with Distinction Award by the College Board. He has also been the team captain of Tabb High School's Scholastic Bowl team for the past 4 years and has led them to a top 3 finish in each year of his participation, twice winning first place. He was also a member of the Model UN for 3 years, winning honorable delegate designation at an Old Dominion University competition. Academically, Charlie has had a very successful and very positive impact. However, Charlie is much more than his academics show. He actively participates in the arts through his school, through his county, and his summer theater. He has acted in 13 different roles across the 6 years he has been participating. He also participates in a technical theater capacity, holding 5 separate roles covering set construction, lighting, and stage management. This passion has led him to becoming a member of the International Thespians Society. However, he further enjoys the arts through film, winning the York County Film Production Award the past 3 years and even getting a second-place award in the state of Virginia in 2022. Furthermore, he was a National Student Leader Conference attendee to the UCLA in 2023 for film production. Aside from the arts, Charlie is a member of the Miracle Fencing Club and has been awarded All-American Fencing First Team the past 3 years. However, Charlie's achievements and successes are rivaled by his dedication to community service. He is an active youth leader and AV technician for his church and is regular volunteer at the Best Day Foundation, an organization assisting with adaptive water sports. Charlie, on the behalf of the Board of Supervisors and Youth Commission, I would like to publicly recognize you as the most worthy recipient of the Outstanding Youth Award for Overall Achievement. We extend our sincere admiration and appreciation for your outstanding example as a role model to the youth of your community. The Board of Supervisors and Youth Commission's best wishes go with you as you continue to apply your many talents and abilities to make a positive impact in your community and to the world through all of your continued educational and career pursuits. We'll now play his video.
Hi, my name's Charles Kirschmeyer, and firstly, today I'd like to thank everyone who's gotten me to this point to receive this award. Firstly, my counselor, Ms. Dowdy, she's been a massive support to everything within the college process and my senior year this year, and that has just been phenomenal to have that sort of support within my school. Secondly, I'd like to thank my family, who has also really encouraged me to go for my passion and pursue this higher education, and this money will really help me cement that into my future. It will help me with my books. I think parts of it will help with room and board, and taking some of that pressure off of my family is something that this award is going to help me do, and I'm so very grateful for it. I'm especially grateful for my teachers as well within York County, because they have always pushed me to do the best that I can, both academically and with my community, in outreach and making sure that I can connect with other people and find that wherever I go in life. And that's something that this money is also going to help me do, is within college, I feel I'm going to have that opportunity now to meet other people like me and be an uplifting force in a new community. Especially within this whole Stress Up community, I'd like to thank everyone within YCSD, the Youth Commission and the Board of Supervisors, for getting me to this point and for awarding me this scholarship money. This is it is a great honor, and I'm very proud to say that I've been nominated and awarded this scholarship.
Unfortunately, Charlie was not able to attend tonight, but we are still very grateful for his contributions to the community.
And I think this is a wonderful example of what our schools produce as far as the students are concerned. And I think also we have to thank the parents, because parents are the backbone, and they give encouragement to their children. And if they didn't give the encouragement to their children would not succeed as they have succeeded. And in these trying times especially, I think we can be very, very proud of each and every one of you, whether you be a Boy Scout, an academic, whatever your venture is, you will succeed because of what you've been able to do so far. So this is always a wonderful night for us. And thank you all so very much for sharing it. Now let me give this to you.
Thank you, Ms. Snow. With the end, okay, there we go. Let me just click through this. There we go. With the end of the first semester, the York County Youth Commission, have been every month preparing for important events that we scheduled for this semester. During the semester, the commissioners have helped with several market days, listened to several notable community speakers, community leaders speak, and even attended a field trip to the Botanical Gardens. The most notable undertaking this semester was hosting the annual, and there's a Botanical Gardens trip, hosting the annual town hall meeting. With the town hall meeting, yeah. And this is from Tab, and this is from York, I'm sorry, from Bruden, and from then on, okay? Let me just go back to Town Hall for a second. So primary objective of the York County Youth Commission is to bridge the gap between youth concerns and the Board of Supervisors. And one key way that we do this is through the annual student survey that we conduct. And through that student survey, we identified the biggest issues and concerns that present to the county. And these questions are then presented to each district's representatives and the school board. And once that occurs, this initiative not only gives students the chance to hear directly from their representatives, but it also fosters a meaningful interaction and connection with them. So each iSchool hosts one of these town hall meetings, and where York County Youth Commission members lead the discussion by posing questions from these surveys and introduces these representatives. During the meetings, one supervisor from the board and one school board representative from that district answers several questions regarding the youth concerns related to the county and schools, respectively. This is our 2024 to 2025 Youth Commission. For District 1, we have present Jesse Kowak, Abigail Sheldon, Alexandra Hayes, Nathaniel Dunster for District 1. For the Bruden Zone? Okay.
Hello, everyone. My name is Scott Hendricks. I am a recreation supervisor with Parks and Rec. One of my great privileges is being the county liaison to the Youth Commission. So I'd like to take this opportunity to invite Mr. Roan, who is our Board of Supervisors liaison, down to the dais here, and then I will read off our Youth Commission members to come on up and, one, get your resolution, and two, just take a big group picture up here. Unfortunately, not all of our youth commissioners can be here, so as I read your name, those of you that are here, please rise up and come join Ms. Knoll and Mr. Roan up on the dais here. So from District 1, we have Jesse Koak, Abigail Sheldon, Alexandra Hayes, and Nathaniel Dunster. From District 2, we have Lila Harmon, Michaela Scott, Connor Linehan, and Sender Gansuch. From District 3, we have Jacob Corbett, Natalie Moss, Kate Hogan, and Alice South. From District 4, we have Louise Wang, Caitlin Smith, Victoria Lemke, and Emily Khalil. And last but not least, we have our District 5 representatives, Mr. Daniyor Babajanov, Eddie Zhu, Cameron Thorson, and Malini Darney.
Go. Thank you very much. Did you enjoy it? Yes. Did you learn something? Who are we missing?
I think we got everybody.
That's
here.
pretty much everyone that's here tonight, yes.
Yeah.
Smiles. Look at the camera, look up.
All right, thank you, everyone. Youth commissioners, you guys can take a seat.
Okay.
Can everyone please join me in a round of applause for our lovely youth commissioners?
And I want to say a special thank you to Mr. Roan because he has been doing this the last couple of years, and I have watched the quality and the intense workmanship of the Youth Commission over the years because of what you've done, Steve. So I hope they've learned a lot, but I hope they had a lot of fun as well.
Thank you, guys. I will now invite Donnie back on up to wrap up our presentation.
Thank you, Mr. Hendricks. At this time, for more information regarding the York County Youth Commission, please visit our website at www.ycyc.info or call the Parks and Recreation office at 757-890-3500. Other than that, this marks the end of our presentation today, and of course, if you have any questions whatsoever, I would be more than happy to answer them at this time. Thank you.
Any comments from the board at this point?
Yeah. Well, Donnie, thanks very much for the presentation to your fellow youth commissioners. I know when you stepped up here to start the program, you're kind of trying to figure out what's going on, which way's up, but we knew because of your selection and the competition for selection. I can speak for District 5 is not easy. Okay, we've got quite a few people that step up, and the resumes are really impressive. So thank you very much for the hard work you've done. I feel always connected to the schools through you guys, and you've done a tremendous job of informing the board and representing the 13,000 students of York County. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shepard.
You want to say anything? Go ahead.
Okay. So I just want to say congratulations to all of you that got your award tonight. I know it's well-deserved. Lots of time and energy and effort goes into extracurricular activities after school mostly, along with the work that you're doing at school and the things that you do around your house, hopefully keeping your parents happy. So, but a big congratulations to each of you, and keep up the great work. You're our future leaders. One day I hope to see you up here making decisions that affect York County. So thanks again. Congratulations.
Thank you, Mr. Drury.
Donnie, my congratulations to you on a wonderful year. To Allison and Anastasia and Maggie and Charlie, fabulous work. Wonderful awards. Couldn't think of better people to accept those awards. I just step back and think what wonderful hands our future is in. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mr. Holworth.
Thank you so much. I think it's a wonderful presentation. Thank you.
Mrs. Snow. So,
Yes.
Donnie, good job tonight. Appreciate it. Team, really enjoyed working with y'all this year again. So for y'all that don't know, last night was their last meeting for this commission for the year, and tonight is the last time they'll be formally together. After that, we're going to be looking at forming a new commission for the following year. So great job this year. You all accomplished a lot. The town halls went really well, and I know you guys had a lot of fun with the different activities as well. Second, congratulations to all the recipients of the Outstanding Youth Awards tonight. As one of the reviewers of all the applications, first of all, they have to be recommended to get applied as one of the potential recipients, and then we have to sit through. You saw the team there and look through them all, and I tell you, and I've said this before, and I'll say it every year. Looking at the quality of youth that we have in York County, for the work that these recipients, these applicants do, the achievements academically, the work they do outside of school, the work they do in school in the club, participation in sports, some of them holding down jobs as well. It is remarkable. It's astonishing. There's enough hours in the day for them all to do what they do. And the same thing with the Youth Commission too. They spend a lot of time. I mean, it's 2 hours every meeting at least when we get together. So the youth in York County, and I'm looking over here at the Scouts too. I see this huge Scout troop. This is fantastic as well. The youth of York County makes me feel good about the future because I see the quality that we have here in the county, and I appreciate the parents behind them, helping them as well. So I'm looking forward to the future because I see what's coming up. So I'm looking forward to it. So again, thanks, team.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Rowe. It was a pleasure to work with you as well.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the VDOT quarterly update, and I see Mr. Carroll is in the audience. Rossi, it's good to see you again.
Good evening, Madam Chair, other distinguished members of the board. It's nice to be here with you tonight. All right, so this quarter includes February 1st through April 31st of 2025. York County customer generated work request for those 3 months was 490 work requests. We were able to complete or close 375 of those with a 76.5 completion rate. We also have our own work order system that we do. So if you call me, I generate a work order for the area headquarters, those type of things. That also equated another 120 work orders, and they were able to complete 117 of those for 97.5% completion rate. Altogether, there was an 80.7 completion rate for the quarter. You can look through those. I think you have a copy, but some of the signs were a big one. We also had a lot of ditching. Concerns, road surface, potholing. This is normal for this time of year coming out of the winter months. So we did a lot of patching, a lot of hand patching, and we also did a lot of incidental maintenance. So when I say that, that is trees down, flooding, those type of things has hit us big over the past 2 or 3 months as well. We did have some snow events in that quarter that they responded to, I thought, very well. And it was good to have some snow because we have a lot of new employees, and being able to have those snow events gives them the experience needed to improve upon their skills and to serve the people in the community. So a few recent highlights, drainage-wise, they did Tide Mill Run and Jeans Place ditching project, Susan Newton Lane and Kyle Circle ditching project, ditching for Production Drive, Woodland Road, Goosley Road, Edge Hill, Crockett Road, Crawford Road. We did Beaver Dam removal and outfall. Yeah, a lot of that this year. Outfall reestablishment, and then the Hornsbyville Road. We did some ditching in the 800 block. We also did pavement repairs on Middle Road, and we did some pipe work on Rosewood Lane. And we used sort of a new method. It's we repaired separated joints with internal bands. So if they're not separated bad enough, we can go in there and put a internal band and lock it in place to hold the two pipes together and seals that separation. So, you know, normally when you get a void on the shoulder or in the road, that's because there's fines are falling through those separated joints. So we were able to do that. It's pretty new to us. We've done 2 or 3 projects like that, so that's one in York County. Pavement markings, we did Route 199 from the beginning there at the bridge over I-64, both directions. Seaford Road, we restriped. Lakeside and Oriana intersection of the mini skips twice. You like that?
I appreciate the second one.
Grafton Drive restripe, Ella Taylor Road, Lindsay Landing, Showalter, Route 17 at Matthew Street, Route 173 and 17 intersection refresh, F-137, Running Man refresh, 134 restripe, 622 restripe between 173 and 712. And we did a lot of thermoplastic handwork, which is like stop bars, all kind of associated around Route 17 South.
Ross, give us an example of refresh.
So after a good snow season, we put snow plows on a lot of these line markings. So they're your center double, your skip lines, your edged lines, and it makes them fade. So we have a contractor that comes back and does thermoplastic painting over where the existing lines were. So we're refreshing the markings of the roadway is pretty much what that is.
Thank you.
Some of the planned maintenance projects that we have for next quarter, Villa Way ditching, Old Lakeside Drive ditching, Sheffield and East Bristol ditching. We have tree trimming on Route 17 from the Coleman Bridge to the railroad tracks. Matthew Street and Route 17, we're ditching, pulling shoulders, and tree trimming. So it's 3 things going on there. 107 Jadone Place, tree trimming and ditching the outfall. Baptist Road and Church Road washout repair. Springfield Road edge paving. We also have the roadway sweeping, and we also are partnering with CSX to repair the crossings of Old Yorkhampton and Wolf Trap Road.
Tell me more about that.
So I've been working with CSX for a bit now, trying to get the crossings redone at those two routes.
All right.
We are going to perform all of the traffic control and detours and all for that. They're going to come in with their contractor and do the crossing replacement.
Okay.
They are scheduled for June the 24th and June the 25th.
That is fantastic news.
That's
Yep.
really good.
What are the 2 crossings?
Old York, excuse me, Old Yorkhampton and Wolf Trap.
Fantastic.
Okay.
June 24th and June 25th, with 26th being a rain date. So it's a Tuesday, Wednesday, rain date on a Thursday. The road will be closed during this. They have to take the complete crossing out, but we will be doing detour in place, you know, around those crossings. I can't tell you, we still have a sit down to kind of figure out all the logistics, but we will put out a press release. We also will share a press release with the county once we have which crossing on which day and detour routes, those type of things.
All right.
All right. Some VDOT administered projects. We did complete a Route 199 westbound slope stabilization project that was up there around Lodge Road and Route 143. That was completed in early April. We did the ADA ramp replacement there at 17 intersection with Fort Eustis and Yorktown. On-call guardrail repair, the contractor has completed 19 of 19 hits, so they've caught up there. But that is a moving target as I speak. You know, every time I turn around, we have another guardrail that's hit. So, but that currently, when I was putting this together, we were up to speed. Penniman Road, Government Road, roadway improvements. That project's still ongoing. The Route 171 right turn lane extension, that is on the Kiln Creek side from on Victory Boulevard. That is just starting construction, and it'll be completed late this summer of 2025 for that end. We also are starting construction on the, well, let me get to it first, but With Creek project is under construction. That's supposed to be completed August of 2027. 134 bridge rehab over 17. That is to start October of 2025 with a completion in September of 2026. And then we have the Colonial Parkway Bridge. That's not my project, but we've been partnering with them a little bit for traffic control or traffic limitations operations on 17. They just poured the deck on the 16th. So that's moving along as well. And bear with me. We have a lot of asphalt going on. If you walk the streets around Yorktown, you see our contractor's been working hard to try to get all the roads around Yorktown paved. It went down, it goes down dark, but it will, as it wears, turn brown. So it will be a brownstone type asphalt around Yorktown. What they cannot get complete by Friday before Memorial Day, the contractor will have to come back after Labor Day. So there will be no paving in the Yorktown area between Memorial Day and Labor Day. So they're working hard to complete as much as they can get completed, but anything that they do not complete, they'll have to come back after Labor Day for. We are next week, we are actually starting this week and into next week, we are doing Dare Road with a latex overlay. And there will be a section that's left out when you see it. And the reason that is HRSD had a project on Dare Road, and Bridgman was a contractor. They're actually going to repave that section. So there's no need for me to latex it if they're going to come in and mill and pave it. So that you'll see a section that's left out, but that's why. It'll all look the same once it's complete.
And when did you say that's going to happen?
It's supposed to start the end of this week and into next week. So Memorial Day weekend, be like Tuesday, they'll start back again, but they're supposed to start this week into cut off on Friday.
All right, and what you're going to do, what with it now? You're not going to repave it, you're going to?
No, it's a sealer. It's like a latex sealer, just to seal the existing asphalt. It's in good enough condition that it doesn't need to be milled up and repaved, but it's at a perfect point to seal it so it lasts longer.
And it's going to go from 17?
It goes from we might as well say Jacobs Run to Lakeside Drive.
Okay.
Okay. And I don't know if y'all have this, but all of the routes and the termini for those are in there as well. So if you're looking for the schedules, it has the termini for each section of roadway as well. 17 northbound, I know Mr. Shepherd and I have had some conversations about it, but that is.
Hey, Rossi, you got to explain this one to the public.
It's always tough. That is one of the busiest intersections in our district. Victory and 17. So whenever you're in there milling and trying to pave back, it always creates some slowness because people have to cross a crossing lane. So we were having some queuing issues we have queuing issues without paving, but paving in that intersection makes it even worse. But what happens is those projects, we have sort of a milling train that comes through and mills up the existing asphalt. It takes about 2 inches of the existing asphalt out. So when it's paved back, it's at the same elevation or same grade as the pavement that was there prior to it. So that leaves about a 2-inch lip between existing pavements and what was milled out, which creates sort of a bumping as you're taking those lefts or going straight across 17 from Victory. Usually, within 48 hours, they're back in to pave that. The paving train comes in and fills up what's milled out. But however, sometimes weather, other things, unforeseen items slow that process up. So it sits out there a little longer than we like for it to. But it is paved now and should be a smooth transition through that intersection. Obviously, all the roads here in Yorktown are being paved. And I have, I think, good news. I have able to put together it's a 14-month schedule. So what that does, we're getting ready to advertise. It provides the contractor 14 months to get the work done. So I can't really tell you whether the work will happen end of this summer or beginning of next summer. I really can't at this point. But some roads that I've gotten in it are 621 Grafton Drive, 630 Armory Lane, 620 Old Williamsburg Road, Springfield Terrace, which includes Springfield Drive, Oakmont Circle, Ridgecrest Circle, and Hickory Hills Drive. Just to explain a little bit how we pick what roads to pave, VDOT's annual road resurfacing project is part of an overall statewide program in which the roadways selected for resurfacing are based on needs, available funding. We distribute funds and targets are the interstate, high volume primaries, low volume primaries, high volume secondaries, and low volume secondaries. It's 5 different groups, and those fundings accordingly. We have targets for each one of those groups of deficiency ratings, so we don't want to drop below a certain target, and each one of those are set accordingly. Interstate certainly has a higher target, high volume primaries, so those are the ones that have your highest volumes of traffic on them. They are usually around 82, 84. Our secondaries, which are our subdivision roads, low volume, is about 70%. We've hit all of our targets.
70% what?
Non-deficient pavements. So I'll get a little bit how we determine what a deficient pavement is. So every year we evaluate our pavements. We have a contractor that goes out and measures low distress rating, non-low distress rating, cracks, pushes, potholes, all of those things, determine what the condition of the pavement is. We take that data and be able to assign each route with a condition index, which is really a grade. You're graded on how your pavements are. Well, those grades are the condition index for that section of roadway. Anything below a 60 is considered deficient. Anything above a 60 is non-deficient. So when we seal pavements or repave or reconstruct, that all adjusts the condition index for each section of roadway. So kind of to go back how we target this, we are provided targets for preventative maintenance. They are really your latex, your surface treatment, your chip seal, your cape seals. We also have restorative maintenance, which is your mill and fills or just your asphalt, 2 inches or less. And then constructive maintenance, which is your CM, which is more of your reclamations, your reconstructions, greater than 2 inches. Sometimes we've done some subdivisions that way in York County where we actually mill up the sub-base, put cement-treated soils in and lift it up 2 layers. You know, they are your reclamations. That's when your sub-base has been impacted enough that it needs reconstruction. Well, we receive target numbers for all of that every year. So we build our schedules based on looking at the condition indexes. We also do what I call windshield surveys, where we ride our roads and determine what roads we need, and then look at the condition index. And then we also look at hitting the targets that are provided for us on preventive maintenance, restorative maintenance, and full construction. For all 5 of those systems that I was talking about: interstate, high volume, low volume, primaries and secondaries. So it is a lot there. And then once we kind of come up with all of that, then we have to look at, all right, how are we going to get the best pricing? So if I have 4 roads in this subdivision that are, you know, let's say they're in the 40s, their condition index is in the 40s, but I have some that are around 60, I'm certainly not going to go in and just pave those 4 roads that are in the 40s. So what we will do is include all the roads in the subdivision as part of that schedule. So I get better pricing for mobilization, contractor bid prices better. There's also situations where maybe the collector road, the main road going into the subdivision that receives most of the traffic, is the one that has the lowest CCI, the condition index or score. I may just do that if the rest of the roads in there are 60s, 70s, 80s, because I know that that is what receives most of the traffic. But that's, in short, sort of how we determine. And then the last thing is there's a dollar amount assigned to all of this funding. Y'all deal with it, I deal with it. I have to keep everything within that allocation that I receive for resurfacing in that given year. So that's sort of how we come up with what routes are paved every year. And our maintenance that we do is also built along that as well. So you'll see us on routes that are coming up the following year. You'll see our people out there making sure that the cross drains are in good shape, make sure that the ditches are worked, the shoulders, and making sure that everything's good as we start paving the next year. Tree trimming, all of that kind of follows our paving schedules as well. So you have one complete street at the end of paving. Smart scale projects, we got the Route 17 widening from 4 to 6 lanes between Wolf Trap Road and 173. That's currently in preliminary engineering. There is some right-of-way work being done out there as well. Route 171 Victory Boulevard widening between 17 and 134. That is also, it's not the same time frame, but it's connected. We advertise both of those projects on both sides of 17 on Victory together, but that is also under construction. That completion date is April of 2026. So this one is in summer of 2025. That one's in April of 2026. And then we have the Route 171 capacity enhancements between 134 and 1740, and that is looking at putting shared use path and some turn lanes. That is public hearing for that. It will be held on Tuesday, June the 24th. From 5 to 7 at the Village of Killen Creek Recreational Center. So if you have any concerns or want to find out more information, please come listen to us or look at our boards. We have the Airport Road, Moortown, and Richmond Road project, which is York County and James City County, that is currently also in preliminary engineering or in design. It's in design scoping phase. And then we have the I-64 gap widening project that is currently under construction. I'm going to briefly run through traffic engineering studies. If somebody wants me to go into more detail, I can, but We did a speed limit review on Route 189, Newman Road area, and extended the 45 closer to I-64. So it's not that little jump between 55 to 45. It's actually as you come off 64, now you're in a 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. Littering is a legal review for Water View. That was not recommended. We also looked at Lakes Head Drive, and that was not recommended for anti-littering signage. Intersection traffic control 17 at Matthew Street, based on the review, we're going to installed curb base and flexible posts as illustrated. And y'all have seen that down there where it's working really well. Tab High School crosswalk review, we completed that, filed those recommendations with the county. We also had a statutory speed limit at Greenland subdivision. Speed limit 25 signs were already, so there was no action taken on that. Route 718 Hornsbyville Road and Route 31 Waterview intersection safety review. We replaced the left westbound stop signs on Hornsbyville with the larger signs and covered the opposite railroad warning sign shape. Installed double arrow signs facing the westbound traffic, and we refreshed the intersection pavement markings per the drawing, and stop bars, center line pavement markings. Intersection safety review at Crawford Road. Based on review, we installed school bus stop ahead signage. We installed curve warning signs eastbound with watch for turning vehicle sign and curve warning signs westbound on Crawford Road. Pavement marking reviews for Newman Road. Traffic engineering recommended installing a double yellow solid centerline pavement markings from Melissa Lane to 1.47 miles of Newman Road. And then we had no through truck designation for Cardinal Lane. The procedure for identifying, studying, addressing issues for residential cut-through traffic, we provided that as our review. And then the speed limit signs for Cheeseman Road. We installed 25-mile-per-hour signs on Cheeseman. And then the last one was school zone speed limit study there at Queens Lake Middle School. And that had some adjustments of the school zone and some additional signage. Land use, we, for the month of April, we have reviewed 18 plan sets. We've issued 33 land use permits for the roadway, and we have closed one. So that is concluding the report for you all. I'll be glad to take any comments or questions and try to answer them best I can.
Thank you, Rossi. Any questions? Yep. Tom?
Yes, real quick, back to the intersection of 17, Victory Boulevard and 17. Now, the reason I've had phone calls from my constituent, and I suspect Steve has because this one's close to it. But if you think about the number of people, you got part of District 4, pretty much all of District 5, the city of Poquoson go through that intersection. And I know many of the folks that are here in the room, at least even the high schoolers, have seen this. So the roads are built to handle a certain amount of traffic. And the only reason I'm saying this, because it really upset a lot of people, that milling through there, the way it was handled, when the busiest times of the day through the worst intersection in the peninsula, and they hit that road, and traffic service goes from probably a C level, maybe even a B at times because it gets through there, to an F. I mean, this thing is so bad that people are afraid to go through the intersection because they're going to damage their cars. So I would suggest, just to suggest in the future, if you're going to do that, you do it at midnight. Okay, I mean, you just cannot go screaming through the intersection with a 2-inch dip. Once going down and a 2-inch dip coming up, because you're liable not to have your hubcaps or your tires when you get through there. So I'm expressing the frustration that many of my constituents felt because of the way that was handled. And I will tell you, Rossi, having lived through the time when we closed down every crossing across Hampton roads except for James River Bridge, and you remember that one. This was almost tantamount to that for the people in my district. Okay, it was really miserable, and it was miserable for anybody trying to get through 17 or get across 17, because cars in the middle of the intersection when the light turned red, and they just couldn't do it. They're doing about 1 or 2 miles an hour. So we have to be really careful with that.
I'm getting the same.
Now, I know that we're doing that Victory Boulevard, adding that one lane, and you said it's going to be finished in April next year. One like on the, I guess it would be on the south, this north side. It's the one going towards Pocosa.
That's correct.
The trees, I believe it or not, I get a lot of questions. It's like, what the heck are you guys doing in York County that leaving half a tree stump that's maybe 8 feet high? Why are you doing that? You have a good answer. I wish you would share that with the public.
Sure. So all of our projects are based on regulations. This happens to be that we cannot cut trees after the April 1st date due to a endangered species that lives in our area.
Which is?
It's a long-eared bat, and it uses trees to
do bats?
Hibernate.
During that time of year to, not hibernate, but actually have they use them. So with that, for us to keep construction projects moving, any tree cutting has to be before that date. We may not be ready to go out and start grubbing, or when I say grubbing, that's getting the stumps up or adding lanes or anything like that. But we're held to that date that we have to have all the trees cut down. We don't have to move them, but after that April date, we can't cut any more trees.
How long does that last? How long is that prohibition?
It lasts a bit. I'm not exactly sure when the ending of it is, but I know April 1st is our date, and it probably runs mostly through the summer.
Okay.
So we did the same thing out on 64 Gap. If you were heading to Richmond, you saw all the trees come down and nothing else happened. That was the reason.
And the same thing along
that was
Grafton.
last year, but still.
The same thing along Grafton Drive.
Yeah. I mean, it's really what we're held to. So our workaround for that is to go cut the trees down, and then as the project progresses, and as we start doing grubbing or clearing and other stuff, we take the stumps up, we move all the stuff out of the way, and we start building a roadway, drainage and structures and infrastructure.
Okay, last question. You answered that. Last question. Two of the supervisors in other districts have problems with railroad crossings that you've addressed. I'm on the TPO, the Transportation Planning Organization for Hampton Roads, and we go through this long process of figuring out how to get things fixed. And we have been, for years, struggling to get those two crossings fixed, and I heard nothing in any of the stuff that the Hampton Roads Transportation Planning Organization, which prioritizes all the pretty much road projects or anything to deal with VDOT throughout the whole 17 jurisdictions, right? How did this come about that all of a sudden we're getting repairs on two cross sections, or two railroad crossings?
So it didn't just start yesterday.
Oh, I know that.
Mark and I have had many discussions and some board members as well. I had reached out to CSX and said, hey, these are our priorities for us. I thought it would get done sooner. I think I even responded to Mark one time, hey, I think we're going to get it done, this date, and now we're 6-8 months later. We were able to work with CSX. I have some contacts there, and I also work fairly well with the local superintendent of CSX, and they happened to have their equipment in the area. So we were able to pick a date, and it worked out for them and for us, and put it together.
Well, I'm really grateful, and I know they are grateful that we're finally addressing this, but it just seems to me that's a hell of a way to do business. I mean, we got it done, but at the level of frustration is that we have spent hours, had to make phone calls, we've had to talk to our constituents, and all of a sudden it gets a project that's important to a locality gets completed, but it's on a personal basis.
So let me
Okay.
make it clear that these are railroad right-of-ways.
We
So
understand.
VDOT does not do any work within railroad right-of-ways.
No,
We were
but
just
but
trying to
you're
facilitate.
doing stuff, okay?
We were just
And
trying
you work,
to.
and you work the thing with CSX.
Yeah, we were trying to facilitate the repairs with
Right.
CSX, and able to get it here, we were partnering with them, as in doing the lane closures and the traffic control for them, so they wouldn't have to contract that out to try to get them, sort of saying, hey, let's go ahead and get this done. I'll do this part if you can do that part. And they responded back saying, yeah, we will be able to do it. Not that as we initially thought they were going to do it, but they said, hey, we can do it in June. I met with the superintendent, and we worked it out on the calendar and was able to put
Well,
some
thank
dates
you very
together.
much for that effort. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Rossi. Just a minute before we get to the other questions. If the students would like to leave at this point, they're welcome to. If you'd like to stay for the whole meeting, you're also welcome to. I'll give you 3 minutes to make up your mind.
Well, they won't need that much time.
I know nobody's going to
They
leave
were
this
to our meeting
report.
last night.
Congratulations, y'all.
Well, they got to see some government at work.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And a couple of them are interested in serving in
They were
office.
falling asleep.
Yeah, they get over. They've had a long day.
No.
Can't believe that many people are leaving.
It's, okay. Okay, I think maybe we're ready to commence. Stephen, did you have some questions?
Yes, I did. So, Ms. Carroll, thank you for some good news tonight. Appreciate it. Some of it's a long time coming. Thank you for the remarking of some of those roads, Showalter, Elatella, Lindsay Landing, getting into Breezy Point. And I know I've been keeping you and Mr. Rawls busy the past 3 weeks. You've been very popular. VDOT's been very popular in District 4 here recently. So I appreciate all the attention you've been giving us, helping us out, giving us good feedback.
Those heavy rains have not helped you.
I understand. A couple things to follow up on. Additional safety measures for the school crosswalk from Villa Way to Tab Middle School. I think you're going to have a team look at possibility. Is that still under review?
Yeah, well, I'll send it to our traffic engineers, and they take a look at it.
Okay, so
come
that's
up
still
and see
looking
what's
at.
warranted.
Also, there on Villa Way, probably still under the same review, but that the flooding along Villa Way and that short road from Villa Way over into Mount Vernon Elementary School, it floods whenever we get any rain, and it causes people to walk out in the road and stuff. That's still under review? Okay. And the really need some help with the patching, the fixing the patchwork on Goodwin Neck Road there in front of the sheriff's office. We've reached out to somebody in your organization, and she's doing trying to do some follow-up with the contractor who needs to come back out there. But any assistance you give us, get that fixed, because with the transfer station on that road, a lot of heavy trucks and trailers come on that road, and every time they hit those patches, it makes an awful racket for all the residents there along that road. So we're trying to get that quieted down. And a quick question, you mentioned 64. Y'all have taken a lot of trees down out of the median, and I know you got to do that in preparation to widen the road. Is the end vision of that is to reestablish that tree line in the median, or are we just going to have,
So the areas that are wide enough, yes.
You're going to put trees back up there?
They are, so the closer you got this way, you'll see there's a barrier with rocks and stuff of that nature. As you get out towards James City County, you'll see that there's actually medians with trees in York County as well, in the upper York County area. It really depends upon how wide the median is. Being that we are widening to the inside, that's the area that we have to take, and the drainage structures are all in the median as well. But yes, so as the further you go out, the median is wider. It doesn't take as many trees, or there will be landscaping involved in part of that.
I was driving that recently, and I saw these trees taken out. I didn't realize how bad it looked not having the trees in the median, so I was hoping to hear you're going to replant as you're able to.
Some of those areas, it really just depends upon how wide they are and how much is left over.
Okay, all right, thank you, appreciate it.
Doug?
Well, I didn't have any questions. I just wanted to thank you, Rossi. That's great news on doing the shoulder stretch on Springfield Road. I had a lot of folks on that road ask me about that, so great to see that's moving forward. I was also pleased to hear about Springfield Terrace being done in the 14-month period. That's great news for that area.
That's in the advertisement. We're advertising that project. You know how things are with advertisement. It's not,
I understand.
It's not awarded, but I thought that was some good news that we're reaching for that.
And the last point I had was Queens Lake Middle School speed enforcement along there is a challenge. So any work you can do on the speed limits is highly recognized or highly appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Wayne?
Yeah, thanks, Rossi, for the update and the details. I appreciate that. There will be some backflips there at the railroad crossings when that gets done, I can assure you. I've been called more than enough on that. And I know you don't have anything to do with this, but do you have any indication of when the parkway is going to open on this end? Have you heard?
I do not. I do not.
I
do have a contact that I can get that information for you.
Okay.
I just don't know it right off the top of my head.
Yeah.
The summer of next year.
Summer of next year.
Oh, I didn't realize it was that far out. Okay. So I know we talked last time you were here about Hardwood Mills and that big hump coming north. And I know you said it's expensive to fix. Is there anything in the works? Are you guys looking at that? Is that 10 years down the road? You have any indication of how that's going to... The one on the far right is the worst. So I know when I go over it, I try to get in the third lane because it gets pretty bad.
Yeah, it's always been there. I don't know that it's gotten any worse than it was when we accepted the project. But all of that, so the far right is all that curb and gutter, all those structures are set already in there. And they haven't settled any. That's the way it was constructed. I wish there was a smoother transition.
Yeah.
But really all of that would have to be redone to change the elevation of the road to tie into the bridge or the boxes.
So you can't make that ramp?
I cannot. I cannot go out there and change the elevation without changing all of the structures that are attached to it. If not, what's going to happen is your road is going to be higher than your curbing and your gutter and your drop inlets that are all in that area.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. And the last thing, I'll get with you. I'm getting a lot more calls from Mallbank, all the potholes and the road starting to crumble on the edges. And so maybe we can meet out there and ride through there and take a look at it. I've had a number of calls with that whole Mallbank Farms there. So I can get with you on that. That's it. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
Rossi, I'm not going to belabor the issue. I think you do a terrific job, and there's only so much money to go around. Unfortunately, that's nothing you can do about that. We just need the General Assembly to give more money for the maintenance that you're supposed to be able to accomplish. But thank you so much for coming. Every quarter, we look forward to it. You have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Mr. Carroll, appreciate it.
Next on the agenda is citizens' comment period, and I've got Marshall Adams as number one. Is there someone? I think that's Adams, isn't it? Seaford? Is that Adams?
Mrs. Knoll.
Mrs. Knoll, I believe he was with the Boy Scouts, and I believe he has left.
She left, okay. The Pam Pouchot, number two.
Good evening, Pam Pouchot, 103 Kimberly Court, District 4. What the federal government does eventually trickles down to all of us. We have an administration that is the master of grift and is being sold to the highest bidder. Trump's meme coin sale for White House dinners and tours is making billions. His real estate business is thriving in the Middle East and Vietnam. Jared Kushner is taking billions of dollars from the Saudis, and Trump is accepting a $400 million Qatari airplane for his personal use. Our tax dollars will be used, quoted at $1 billion, to remove any spyware and install all that is necessary to create Air Force One, while we already have 2 planes being built in the U.S. Trump said the U.S. needed to have the world's most impressive plane, not his current inferior one. He was envious of the monarchs and dictators of the Middle East. While there, he was guaranteed the construction of Trump Tower in Syria. He then lifted all sanctions for being a supporter of terrorism without congressional approval. Trump is celebrating his birthday by spending about $45 million tax dollars for a military parade to stroke his ego. He does not have problems with his tariffs costing households thousands of dollars while increasing the debt and reducing taxes for the billionaires. Not one of Elon Musk's billion-dollar contracts have been cut. Foreign students who protest, not against Judaism, but the Israeli government's genocide of Palestinians in Gaza, are arrested. But then they are not bribing Trump for favors. Trump wants to purge anything that meets his criteria of DEI. If you support or write anything about LGBTQ+ people or the accomplishments of women or minorities, you are guilty and should be fired or unfunded. The Kennedy Center, the Smithsonian's museums on African Americans and Native Americans, and many others are all on the chopping block. I have no doubt that the Women's History Museum will never come to fruition. Without authority, Trump fired the Librarian of Congress. Imagine the purging of millions of books. The bigotry is obvious. Trump, with taxpayer dollars, granted refugee status and flew the first 59 white South Africans to the U.S. who just do not like losing their status as overseers of an oppressive political power called apartheid. Yet those who aided the U.S. military in Afghanistan or are fleeing genocide are being sent back to a guaranteed death in their home countries. Programs that fund medical research, Head Start, SNAP, food banks, health care, the VA, FEMA, FAA, Social Security, Medicaid, and Medicare are also on the chopping block. Employees are being fired without concern about the necessity of their positions, but Trump's plane is not palatial enough. When Trump was asked if he would uphold the Constitution, he responded, "I don't know." His administration is demonstrating they do not believe in due process guaranteed by the Fifth Amendment. His oath of office was merely a suggestion. My question is, why does anyone support this tyranny? Have you no shame? Thank you.
Thank you. That's the last person I have signed up for citizens' comment period. If there's anybody else who would care to speak at this time? If not, I'll close the citizens' comment period. And County Attorney reports, Mr. Hill?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have nothing this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Hill? Okay. County Administrator's reports.
Thank you, Mrs. Knoll.
Bellamy.
Thank you, Mrs. Knoll. Mr. Shepard called me today and pointed out to me that we were a little remiss in getting some dates for the Memorial Day Remembrance Ceremony. So I wanted to say tonight that that will be here on Monday, May 27th at noon here at York Hall. The plan is to be outside unless the weather does not permit, and then we will move inside. The fife and drums will be there, and a guest speaker, and also the usual wreath laying. So I wanted to make sure everybody knew that. And then secondly, Riverwalk Landing is going to celebrate its 20th anniversary. That's going to take place May 22nd, which will start this Thursday, to the 26th. We have a special concert on Thursday night, Brass Wind. And then over the weekend, there'll be multiple events, live music, shopping, and more. A little something for everybody. So it'd be a great time to come out and enjoy the 20th celebration of Riverwalk Landing. And I'm available for any questions should you want to ask about
Anybody
something
have any
else.
questions?
So there's no single event
No
that
event.
we market as this is the.
It's a series of events. Mrs. Olson is here. She might want to come up and speak to that.
For Riverwalk, you mean?
It's automatically on. Good evening. It was strategic to not have a singular event for Memorial Day weekend. As many of you know, if we have nice weather on a holiday weekend, it will be a huge beach traffic at the waterfront. So we do a little better Memorial Day through Labor Day. We pretty much just have Thursday night concerts, and then our markets Saturday morning that are cleared out by noon. And again, that's just strategic so that the town is free for those that are coming to the beach, for those that might be reserving the freight shed. So we do a series of events. Thursday night concert, Friday night concert. The shops are all offering 20% off for the weekend. We have roving entertainment from magicians to strolling music. And then Riverwalk Restaurants having a customer appreciation event on Monday as well, but no one singular event.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anything more, Mark? No, okay, thank you. Okay, comments from the board. Tom, do you have any?
No, I have nothing.
Okay, Stephen?
3 things real quick. First of all, York County 2025 Community Survey is currently open and runs through the 30th. So if you have not responded, please do so. Your input is very helpful, very valuable. So just go to the main page, yorkcounty.gov, and it should be at the top there. Click the link and participate, please. Also, May is Water Safety Month. We live around a lot of water, so if you're not comfortable with water, and there's a lot of preventable deaths related to water safety. So if you're not comfortable around water, you haven't learned how to swim yet, please look for classes to help out with. Our local YMCA, the Victory YMCA on 134, is a great resource for that, so please consider doing that. And also, I want to make a quick plug, June 1st, Sunday, June 1st, I think, second annual workboat races. The first one last year was a fantastic event, a great turnout. It's even bigger this year. So if you get a chance, come out there and watch all the competitors June 1st on Sunday. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Wayne, do you have anything? Doug?
I had a couple very quick ones. So I had issued a note to a lot of people who read my newsletter, but we have a VDOT survey taking place right now on Moortown Road and Centerville Road. Anyone who wishes to look at that, you can access it through the VDOT webpage. And I believe there's also a link to it on the county webpage. I've encouraged lots of feedback. 199 Beautification Corridor, that work was completed today, a little bit late. I had a few complaints on that, but thank you very much. You've done a wonderful job.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. A shout out to our York County Economic and Tourism Development people because they've received a 2025 Virgo Award from the Virginia Association of Destination Marketing Organizations for its Independence Day celebration in the Best Digital and/or Social Media Initiative category. The team's creative use of live streams, interactive content, and real-time updates boosted engagement and excitement around the event. That's a lot of words, but it's the actions that take place and the work that our people have been doing, and congratulations on winning that award. I think that's terrific. And the next comment that I'd like to make is, tonight we had students here, and how proud we are of what they've done. But we have a graduate from Bruton High School who is going to lead the SpaceX mission. NASA astronaut Zaina Cardman will be the new crew commander of NASA SpaceX Crew 11, which is headed to the International Space Station this summer. She was first selected as an astronaut in 2017. Zaina grew up in Queens Lake. She's a local girl. She went to Bruton High School. Her biology teacher was Emil Davis. And all I can say is, we don't give enough credit to the teachers who can spark the imagination of our students and lead them to greater things. And here this young lady went all through Bruton. He had books that he loaned her, and she read every single one of them, and she did an independent study on them. And she just went from there to another place, to another place. And how marvelous it is that we have a homegrown woman who is going to be an astronaut. So hands off to everybody. I think Bruton High School should deserve a special plaque, and she's invited the teacher to the launching, and I think that's super because she's kept in touch with them. And teachers can make such a difference on the students. So to all you teachers out there, congratulations, because you're all part of this, because each of you have something to say to a student someday that may spark a difference. Thank you so much. And now we're going to have a recess for 5 minutes.
here. She could possibly hear this.
Okay.
She's freaking out. Both her sons.
The meeting will reconvene.
Both in the army.
Excuse
Both
me,
in firefighting.
if I could have silence, please? Thank you.
Hit the gavel.
Pretty level-headed guy.
They're not hearing me.
Hey, folks, ready to get started? Thank you.
Thank you. All right. I'm opening
Start
the public
talking
hearings now, and the first one we have is an application ZM 205-25 from Seaford Breeze LLC, and it has to do with a change in zoning. And Jean, you got it.
Application submitted by Seaford Breeze LLC is a request to rezone 111 Shirley Road. The 1/1600ths of an acre subject property is zoned WCI for water-oriented commercial and industrial, and designated limited business in the comprehensive plan. The applicant has submitted a request to amend the York County zoning map by reclassifying 111 Shirley Road from WCI to RR for rural residential for the purpose of constructing one detached single-family dwelling. So to the north is Back Creek. To the east is a warehouse owned by Trustin Technologies. To the south is Shirley Road and two detached single-family dwellings beyond. And to the west is a vacant lot, one single-family dwelling, and Mills Marina beyond. In our analysis, staff examined three factors: property size, the RPA buffer, and the surrounding zoning. I'll start by discussing property size. The subject property is constrained by both physical and environmental factors. The property is considerably smaller at 1/1600ths of an acre than most of the surrounding residential properties on Shirley Road, which average approximately 8/10ths of an acre in size. Furthermore, an approximately 900ths of an acre portion of the subject property is dry land. The remaining land is underwater. Because of its small size, the property is unlikely to be developed as a water-oriented commercial or industrial use. I've overlaid the survey plat submitted by the applicant onto an aerial image of the property to give you an idea of how the single-family dwelling would be constructed. So next I'll discuss the RPA buffer. The subject property is also waterfront and entirely within the Chesapeake Bay Resource Protection Area, or RPA buffer. RPA buffers are 100 feet in width and protect water quality by regulating development on land adjacent to bodies of water. Any development that would encroach more than 50 feet into the RPA buffer requires approval through York County's Chesapeake Bay Board. By virtue of the property's location within the RPA buffer, any development of the property would encroach more than 50 feet into the RPA. Furthermore, a detached single-family house is less intense than a commercial or industrial use and would have less environmental impact within the RPA. So finally, I'll discuss the surrounding zoning. The comprehensive plan designates the subject property as limited business, allowing low to moderate intensity commercial activities, including water-oriented commercial and industrial uses. The surrounding context is predominantly residential, with most properties along Shirley Road zoned RR or used for residential purposes. While the adjacent properties to the west are zoned WCI, the parcel immediately adjacent remains vacant, with a single-family detached dwelling and then Mills Marina located further beyond. All properties south across Shirley Road and to the east beyond the neighboring Trustin Technologies warehouse are zoned RR and are residential. Rezoning the subject property to RR would align with the predominant zoning pattern of the surrounding area. The subject property's physical and environmental constraints make it unlikely to ever be developed as a water-oriented commercial or industrial use, with most of the surrounding properties being zoned RR as residential, or used as residential. The proposed rezoning would be consistent with the established neighborhood pattern. Therefore, staff recommends approval of this application through the adoption of proposed ordinance number 25-11. Thank you. I'm happy to answer any questions, and the applicant is here as well.
Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, would you like to ask Phil?
Could you show me that view with the map of the property overlaid on,
Yes.
on the plat? Okay. I guess there's more dry land there than it appears. Yeah, that picture, okay, all right.
Doing fill in?
Is a
The proposed sand.
proposed sand beach, so proposed riprap. So this is all, I guess if they get approval from the Chesapeake Bay Board to make those changes to, with the proposed riprap and planting zone and sand beach?
I think that
What am I looking at
the
there?
applicant might be able to answer that question
Okay,
for
all
you.
right, we'll ask that question. And
Yeah.
the other question before that, is Shirley Road served by HRSD and Newport News Waterworks, or is that all septic and well water?
No, they're served by public water and sewer.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for her? Go ahead.
Jeannie, what is the size of the house being proposed? How many square foot?
Very small.
I think it's also a question for the applicant. I don't know that off the top of my head.
Okay.
Okay, would the applicant care to come forward, please?
That's what I was asking.
Thanks, Jean.
Hi. Wayne Harbin, 125 Shirley Road. Can I answer any questions?
All right. You have questions?
That overlay showed proposed riprap, proposed sand beach, proposed, is
That has been approved, yes, sir.
That you'll do?
Oh, yeah, I will do that.
So that's your proposal?
And the purpose
Okay.
really is to try to control what's been going on for years and years. So that, we've got enough property to put the house on and being 2 stories with a drive under for your vehicles.
All right, so
Yes,
go up
sir.
on stilts, okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You have questions?
So my question was around the size of the house and
I want to say it's 30 by 30. So, and then it's smaller on top. So I think we're about 1,200 square feet.
and so what does it sleep, or how many bedrooms?
It'd be 3 bedrooms,
3 bedrooms.
3 small bedrooms.
So Jeannie.
Kind of bump on one side and then bigger.
So my question back to Jeannie was, the parking is compatible with the 3-bedroom approach?
You have enough room to have 2 cars underneath.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
all right.
Are you involved with the Chesapeake Bay Board? Have you gotten clearance
I
there?
can't go forward to that till hopefully we get this board
I see.
to approve.
And then you go forward, and they still may say no.
We hope not.
We hope not.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
We went through a lot to get the living shoreline, and so that we could have that already in preparation.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any questions?
I've got one question. So
Yes.
just to understand this, the jetty, well, whatever the picture went to, but the jetty and the sand beach, that's already been approved by
Yes, sir.
the Army Corps of Engineers?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All the approvals is done. I'm ready to go.
You need us.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll
Thank
open the
you.
public hearing. Is there anybody who care to speak to this issue? See none, I'll close the public hearing, and what's the pleasure of the board?
I'd like to move, where we at? Number 3, ordinance 2511.
Yes. Any discussion?
Yeah, I just want to make a comment. Of course, I live in Seaford, and I know this property very well. And Mr. Harbin and them are doing a favor to get a house there, because you're not, like they said, and Caitlin said, you're not going to get anybody to go in to do a commercial building. It's not big enough. So I think this is a great purpose to rezone it for that particular house, and they do a quality job. So I just want to make that comment.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, roll call, please.
The motion made by Mr. Roan is to adopt proposed ordinance number 25-11 to rezone a .16 acre parcel at 111 Shirley Road from water-oriented commercial industrial to rural residential. Mr. Holroyd.
Yes.
Mr. Drury.
Yes.
Mr. Roan.
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd.
Yes.
Mrs. Knoll.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. The next on the agenda is application UP 1046-25, Landon Hayward. Caitlin, you've got this one.
All right, good evening, folks. This is an application for a tourist home in a single-family house at 1024 Penniman Road. Subject parcel there, highlighted in cyan. It's zoned high-density single-family residential, R13, as is everything surrounding. You see a little bit of neighborhood business here across the street to the east, and then to the south is James City County. This is residentially zoned across the street, R2. That's just an aerial of the property. It gives you some of the subdivisions around there, Penniman Woods, York Court. Want to talk about a little bit what's surrounding the house here. Calvary Baptist Church is right here to the east. And then to the north, we have 2 single-family homes. Then immediately to the south is Grace Baptist Church in James City County. That's just some photos of the house. This is looking northeastish. You can see Calvary Baptist Church right there. I'm looking directly south across the street at Grace Baptist Church in James City. That's looking across Penniman Road. And that's just a view of the house there. The house itself, kind of your standard single-family home, 3 bedrooms. In this case, it's being proposed the whole house rental be 6 guests maximum. Lengths of stay would be 2 consecutive nights to 29 consecutive nights to be in compliance with the definition for transient occupancy. And then this would also have a requirement for 4 parking spaces. This is kind of the applicant's parking proposal. They have a horseshoe driveway, so 3 of the cars would fit here, kind of stacked front to back, and then 1 could pull in there into the carport, which you saw in that previous photo. I'm going to talk a little bit about how this application relates to the board policy for short-term rental homes. One of the criteria established in the board policy talks about distances for various zoning districts and densities based on where you have an existing active short-term rental. In this case for R13, it's 750 feet. So I kind of showed a buffer there. The nearest active short-term rental is 113 Edale, which is a little star right there. This property is about 1,500 feet away, so it does meet that particular criteria for the separation.
Did we not already have one on Penniman?
It's not within that distance. So the Edale one is actually like geographically the closest. One of the other criteria is home ownership, and particularly where the owner is in relation to the short-term rental where they reside. So this is again the house. Directly across here at 1018 Penniman is Ms. Monique Armstead. She's proposed to be the responsible party or the manager, which is permitted under the tenets of the zoning ordinance. In this case, again, the owner would not be managing the tourist home and he doesn't reside directly adjacent. Instead, he's designated his adjacent neighbor here as well as Mr. Randall. And so that's just a photo of where the subject house is and then with Ms. Armstead, who's going to be the manager. We have a condition proposed in the resolution to that end that Ms. Armstead must be present anytime that a short-term rental is occurring. She has to be at 1018 Penniman. This does not meet, though, the board policy guideline, which dictates that the owner either be in the home that's being rented or immediately adjacent to the home that's being rented. This application did receive letters of support that were included in your packet with the memo. One was from 1018 Penniman, the other one was from the neighbor here at 623 Queens Creek. Just highlighting some more conditions. These are pretty standard, a lot of these with other short-term rental conditions. Again, has to be rented as a whole house, can't do separate rooms. Kind of your standard fire life safety requirements. You have to have fire extinguishers, outdoor cooking appliances, can't use charcoal. One that's a little different is, you see there was one for address numbers. House doesn't have the address numbers posted up front, so what fire would like if this application is approved, those address numbers need to be posted, and they need to be visible enough that if they're driving by, they can identify the property. And then, kind of as is typical with these other cases that we've seen lately, the use permit for the tourist home would terminate upon the sale of the property by current owner. Mm-hmm. So some conclusions. Again, as a use for tourist homes, it's pretty similar in scale to the other ones that have been approved. However, this is an off-site property owner and doesn't meet that board policy. So for that reason, staff is recommending denial of this application. The Planning Commission did hear this on March 12th, 2025, and they voted 5-1 to recommend approval. So tonight, if you wish to approve this application, you can do that through the adoption of Resolution 2582. So that is all I have for you tonight. I'm here to answer any questions for staff. Mr. Randall is here. He's going to be one of the managers to speak on behalf of the applicant as
Does
well.
anybody have any questions for the staff?
Just to be clear, the proposal is that the homeowner will not be resident while it is being rented. Okay.
That's right. Okay. Thank you all.
I did have one more question
One
for
more
staff.
question?
The person assigned to look after the house does not appear to own the neighboring house. When I
Ms.
went through-
Armstead?
Ms. Armstead.
So the way we wrote the condition is that if this is approved, she has to be in that house while the house is being rented.
But she herself appears to be a renter, not an owner.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
I do have a question.
Yes.
So the way our ordinance reads that if the house is being rented and they come in, and I think the rental time can go up to like 29 days or something like that?
Right now. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that means that, that the person that is supposed to be the manager of the place, or whether it could be the owner, living next door to one of these, they have to physically be on their property the whole time the house is being rented.
The way the policy, and this isn't just, I'm referring to the policy in this case, I think that was written more, again, if you're living in the house. So are you referring to the condition or the policy? I don't think I understood your question
Well, the
correctly.
policy is what I'm kind of focused on here
Okay.
because it's being reflected. And the reason I bring this up, because in the past, we turned down one. I remember a guy wanted to go on vacation somewhere, and he'd be gone for like 2 weeks and while it was being rented, and he owned the place, and he was living next door, but he wasn't going to be home for a couple of weeks, and so we turned it down. And what's the difference here? I mean, if you get somebody that agrees to manage your property, then they physically would have to be on the way I'm reading this, they have to physically be on the property the whole time the place is being rented. In other words, they couldn't, what do they, can't go to the grocery store?
No,
Can't
no,
go
no,
shop?
no,
No, I mean, really for
Don't, I don't want to hear this crap about, the interpretation. I want to know what the words say.
Okay. I'll speak about so the condition we wrote for Ms. Armstead is she needs to be living at the house while it's being rented because she's the manager, the homeowner isn't there, right? So somebody needs to be able to respond if
So what do you
something
mean by
happens.
living at the house?
She needs to reside in the house and be readily available if there's
Readily
an
available,
incident.
so that means they have to be present to be readily available, right?
He does need to be present, yes.
Okay, well, that's a big difference than living at the house. I mean, I could be living at the house, but go out with friends up, the other side of town or something, and then something could happen. I might be on my phone somewhere, but then that violates the distance issues. So to me, there's kind of a quirk here in the way we've got this thing written. If we're not sure what we're saying, that you have to be physically present the whole time.
So Mr. Randall's here. He's part of the management team. So I don't want to speak for him, but I think he might be able to.
I'm talking about the rules, the thing that we base our rules on, the guidelines we've set for short-term rentals. Are we requiring someone to be present and readily, or as you said, readily available, which means to me, could have a different interpretation for someone else, but it means to me that you've got to be there, they can respond in a quick, timely manner. Otherwise, then why do we have all this crap about somebody being X number of miles or distance, feet away from the home?
Well, frankly, sir, so yeah, you're right. The regulations of the ordinance do permit that situation you're describing. The policy, as the policy is written that you all passed, policy is really directed towards the owner being, owner in the house or living immediately adjacent. My understanding is, when that was passed by the board, was the board's concern was they didn't want kind of this absentee situation owning multiple homes. They wanted that property owner to be invested in that property, and though they felt that's that adjacency requirement or living in the house, board's kind of desire there was to have that investment.
Well, Caitlin, I understand what you're saying, but there was a lot of smoke around what you were talking about, because it's sort of an interpretation of what the board wanted. Well, actually, the previous board. So the question I'm asking is the wording as it says, as it is listed now, the restrictions on, and we've already reacted to one of these. We turned it down because they violated this policy guidance that we laid out. So I'm just trying to understand when it's words we've got in here, if we're meaning you don't have, you can live there, but that doesn't mean you're restricted, that you can't come off your property or you can't go around, then maybe we need to clean up our wording a little bit. But right now, you've got to be not a certain distance and you got to be in a certain time.
Yeah, and that's the policy. It is a guideline though, and it's not a fixed regulation.
It is a guideline.
It's a guideline, so, you know, it's kind of.
So what's the fixed regulation difference?
Well, the fixed regulation is the language of the ordinance, which we're, you know, and that is, you could have the manager or you could reside. It gives that flexibility to designate the responsible party. That's the actual ordinance regulation. So when I'm referring to the policy that was passed last year, the language in the policy is a little bit less specific.
Okay, okay, let me play devil's advocate here. How would then how do they appeal this? If they don't, the board makes a decision that goes counter to what they want to do, they can appeal it, right?
Whom?
Well, you won the court for one thing, but is there another form of appeal? Board of Zoning appeal? What's the other appeal that we might have here?
That would go to court. The grounds for that, I think, I don't want to speak. I'm not an attorney, so I'm not going to talk about. I'm not going to get into that. But
okay, attorney.
There is a route. There's a route an applicant could take, possibly.
All right. So
if they meet certain
my
criteria.
question then goes to our attorney here. So is this guidance that we have in zoning, our rules, our ordinance, is it nebulous enough to warrant a challenge?
I don't think it would be appropriate to speculatively comment on what somebody may or may not be able to do with this particular application, but I feel confident that our policy and the board's discretion and decision-making would withstand a legal challenge.
Okay, that's good. I'm done.
Any more questions?
Well, let me, if I may, just to help address what you were asking, if I'm reading the right document, the verbiage says the owner of a tourist home should reside either in the home or in an adjacent premises. If residing in adjacent premises, the owner of the tourist home should reside within 3,000 feet of the tourist home. So it really comes down to what is the definition of reside? Is it 24/7 or is that where, so yeah, maybe we need to clean that language up a little bit, but that is the current language of the board policy, so.
I mean, I don't, Richard, you jump in, but I think reside means you live in the home.
I don't think there's anywhere in the law where reside means that you are anchored to
In the
your
home.
location
Yeah.
24 hours a day, 7. Even if the rule required that you be living in the home while a room is being rented, that doesn't mean you can't go about your normal activities as long as you're in a position to be able to respond within a reasonable amount of time, and your physical presence is defined as you being there, you know, in your normal course of business.
Okay,
I think that's the understanding that this board had. I think that's the understanding that most of the understanding of the common language of the word reside.
Well, that's scrolling through this whole thing again. I've read it just once. So the violation is that is beyond 3,000 feet?
Well, the guidance is because we had to set there was a desire to set a limit for what is adjacent necessarily. What is that distance? And so the distance was determined to be 3,000 feet.
So it's beyond 3,000 feet. Is that what I'm reading here?
The owner does not live. Yeah, the owner does not live adjacent, and he does not live within 3,000 feet of this particular property.
The owner doesn't live in state.
No, he does not.
Yeah.
And the other thing too, Tom, I think the one you were referring to, I think that couple was going to be traveling a lot. It wasn't going to be just 2 weeks. Right. It was going to be months at a time.
That was the thing. They weren't
going to be available.
They weren't around a lot.
Yeah, they weren't be available.
But they lived right next door to that property, but they just
right.
weren't around.
But they just weren't going to be available.
And they didn't have anybody they wanted to give it over to manage it, I guess. I'm not sure. But you know, we set this stuff up so that it would be clear cut to what we will approve and what we won't approve, and we've reacted to it on previous occasions. Okay, so just to make sure we got some consistency here.
Okay. Any more questions for staff? If not, I'll open the public hearing. And the first person who signed up is Brian Randall. Please come forward, state your name and address.
Good evening, Board. My name is Brian Randall, 722 Hilliard Drive. I am representing Mr. Landon Haywood as the property manager, with Miss Monique Armstead. I have known Landon for over 30 years. I grew up in the area in Williamsburg, and that house on Penniman Road that is an Airbnb belongs to me as a short-term rental. I got my application 3 years ago, and I become a super host through short-term rentals. While doing so, while being about 10 minutes away, my mother lives next door to the property, and it hasn't been an issue. When it comes to responding to situations that come with the house, 9 times out of 10, it's either something that can either be resolved over the phone, or maybe somebody, hey, we can't get in the house, the keypad is dead, something to that extent. So there hasn't been any issues that I haven't been able to resolve, being able to get there in a fast, timely manner to resolve the problem. Mr. Haywood is just like me. He's renovated a house and decided not to rent it out. We all know Williamsburg is a great tourist town. It's been a very pleasant experience for me with the short-term rental that I've had over the past 3 years. And him being my best friend, I said, hey, it's worth a shot of trying to do that. And if you do decide to do it, I will manage your property. I'm in the area. I live in the area. I love the area. Mama Haywood is in the area. She's also agreed to help us. So there are, of course, extensive situations that may happen sometimes, but managing the property has not been an issue, and I don't see any issues as far as managing this property either with Miss Monique Armstead.
Any questions? No.
Have you been managing Mr. Haywood's property already to this point?
I have, yes, I have. So as far as managing, it's just overseeing what's been going on as far as like renovations and stuff like that up until it was ready to go.
But not managing it as a rental?
No.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Do you have a question?
So I come back to the question of, my understanding of having somebody represent the owner would be somebody who lives in the area, has skin in the game, and is an owner themselves. But you've picked somebody who I believe is a tenant. Is Monique Armstead a tenant or an owner of the property adjacent?
A tenant of the property adjacent, yes.
So what is the position of Mrs. Pugh, the owner of that property?
He's the owner. He's renting the house out to Miss Monique Armstead.
And has he endorsed this STR approach?
That I do not know.
So you really don't have one of the neighbors, one of the direct neighbors, providing a positive response?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you.
Any more questions? Thank you very much.
No problem.
The next person I've signed up is Barbara Hayward. Barbara, thank you for your long service on the Board of School Board.
Thank you. This is my second home. I'm here, this is two
It's
times
nice to
this
see
week.
you standing there.
Yes. But this time of the dais, this side of the dais. Good evening, Madam Chair and board members. I come here to represent Landon. Landon is my son. Landon, as Brian said, when you have children that grow up with yours and they're in your house, and from middle school to high school, they're your own children. That goes back to that village. It takes that village. So I can vouch for Monique. And when I say that I'm listening to your comments about residing and so forth, she lives in the house. She has been there for such a long time. Her son, in fact, was the grass cutter until he went off to college. So I know her. I can vouch for her being there. And I want to think that having someone next door is to make sure that the house is in good condition, that the renters are not upsetting the neighborhood. She can do that. She can do that. She is next door. She's willing to do that. Brian is close by. My husband and I are 2.3 miles away. We're always at the house, if not cutting grass or doing something for Landon when he makes the phone call. So I'm asking you to approve his request. It's nice. The house sat empty for a while. And when Landon bought it from the rest of the family, the house became alive. The house is over 75 years old, and it became alive again. And you're just blessed that he wants to keep the house in the family. And the way of doing this will allow that. So I'm, again, asking you to approve his request of this being a tourist home. If there are, again, any questions regarding the safety of the house, the condition of the neighbors and so forth, we're willing to be there to support that. Thank you.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak to this issue? If not, I'll close the public hearing. What is the pleasure of the board?
I'll move the, I don't know what the zoning ordinance, or see, was it, is it 2582? Is that the correct one?
Yep.
I'll move it,
Okay.
but then we're going to have a discussion.
Okay, discussion, please.
Moved, okay, so I've got it, so now for the discussion.
Get it?
Okay, so here's my concern here. I'm trying to understand, because I remember we first did this, and I wasn't in line with what we did because of the distance issue. And I remember a couple times, we've seen these cases where one young lady lived up there, wanted to rent her apartment, she was living with her boyfriend down this side, and they get some old guy that was gonna sit there and take care of it, and we go, yeah, thumbs up. And then, so we've had variations of this, and try to get away from the variations, what we decided to do was to create the policy, okay, which we have. We have established this policy. Now, my understanding was the establishment of this policy is that we wanted to have buy-in, people that live there, we want them to buy into the place. In other words, they own this place, and they could rent it out. They may have multiple homes, and they can maybe make some money out of it. But it was also the issue that we were going to turn York County into Virginia Beach, down area where we ended up with whole neighborhoods of nothing but rentals, short-term rentals. So you guys tell me, I'm interested in understanding what we're doing here with this. I mean, that's my point. I want to understand what we're doing to this, and how is this going to help us in this county?
So my response to that, I guess, would be, I've had numerous conversations over the past 3 years with residents, my constituents, residents elsewhere, about concerns they have with short-term rentals. One of the concerns they have is around absentee property owners, where the property owner is nowhere near, maybe another state, maybe another county, whatever the case may be, and there are issues that happen while the property is being rented, either by the renters or the property itself, that impacts their quality of life, and they have nobody to turn to go, hey, property owner, neighbor, you need to address this because it's impacting me, my kids, whatever the case may be. And so we adopted a board policy to try to address that by saying, okay, if the property owner resides while it's being rented, the neighbors have somebody to go to say, hey, you need to address this because this is your property, you're renting this. So we adopted that policy to help give them, the neighbors, some peace of mind. Again, try to balance, let the property owners do what they want to do, but also to protect the property owners adjacent. So that's what we're trying to do with this particular policy, is to give the neighbors recourse to address problems they're having with the actual property owner while it's being rented.
So what was our position, or what was our argument for not allowing, or management firms that could do this? What was our argument against that?
Skin in the game. The property owner, as the property owner, they're going to have the most skin in the game, not somebody they farm that out to.
So we created a policy that gave a distance. What is it, 3,000 feet, I think? And that's where was that the live-in, or was that the difference, the 3,000 feet between rentals?
No, that was 3,000 feet. That the property owner needs to reside somewhere, either in the house or somewhere close, and we define somewhere close as within 3,000 feet.
Okay, so we wanted to get away from companies, companies coming in, buying up little homes everywhere and then turning it into a business, right? And we did that by limiting the distance on these things, which I believe this one complies with.
Right.
Right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So essentially, this is okay, if I understand what you're saying, it's a violation of just simply buying in the game. I mean, having skin in the game, right?
Basically, yeah.
Okay, all right.
The other aspect was stopping people, as you said, LLCs from coming in, swooping in, buying up low-value housing, converting them to STRs, and then having no skin in the game. That was what we were trying to avoid.
But this doesn't affect that at all.
This particular case,
No.
personally, I'd be much more comfortable if it was Mrs. Hayward as the local representative of the STR, because then I wouldn't have an issue. It's a homeowner. Okay, it's slightly outside the 3,000 feet, but it's a home that they've owned for a long time. It's in the family. She continues to live in the area. She would be a proper representative. I'm having difficulty with a tenant having the responsibility because I have no linkage, nothing that tells me when that tenant leaves that house next door. You don't get notice of the sale, not like the owner next door is moving and therefore the SUP gets canceled. I'm struggling with this one because I've got no linkage that ties it back to the renter. How do I know when the renter leaves that property next door?
What if we, okay, so what would be the deal if the person owned the house next door? And it was going to serve as the responsible agent?
But the woman who lives next door has been living there for how many years? 25 years?
That's not my question.
That's not my question.
Is just
the question is
what's
if the
difference?
owner lived within 3,000 feet, there would not be an issue. It'd be within policy. In this particular case, I think the question is, why wouldn't you assign the ownership of the responsibility to Mr. and Mrs. Haywood?
But she's 2 miles away.
And she's not the property owner.
Right. Well, she is.
Relative.
It's
But
a
she's outside of 2.5 miles.
family-owned property for 75 years.
Again,
Yeah.
this is the policy that we've created, okay? And I'm just trying to,
I look at his guidelines.
well, the issue I'm having here is if we tell people to come in here and we shoot them down on their application because they violate the policy, and then how far off this policy do we go, okay?
Well, and that's why consistency is important.
But necessary.
Because I've been pretty consistent with the.
Well, I mean, right, I understand that, but I mean, this is,
There's a human value that goes along
Tom, I
with
think the
this.
other part too is they were told up front that this probably was not going to go through, and they decided they
well,
were
the
going to.
staff doesn't recommend it, and
Right.
it flies in the face of the policy that we
Right.
went to a lot of trouble.
Right.
Even though I disagreed with it, we went to a lot of
I don't
trouble
like the policy.
to get it established.
Right.
And I want to treat everybody, I want them, when they walk in the door, I want to know what they're facing, okay? So this is not a pickup game of basketball here. We got the rules set, and you're going to come in and play the game, so.
Well, one of the things for me on this is they were told up front that this probably was not going to fly. And so they were given that information up front that this board has been voting against these because there is no buy-in. And there's other options for the family. You can do a long-term rental. You don't have to do short-term rentals. You can keep the house in the family name forever and ever and ever. But we've set this policy for a reason. I'm like Stephen. If we bend on this one, there's going to be another one, and there's going to be another one, and there's going to be another one. So I think we have to set our policy and stick to our policy, or we got to go change the policy, which we already fought through all
Okay,
that.
I get to say something here right now, all right? Thank you very much. As Tom, I was not happy about setting a policy because we're dealing with people and we take special use permits and we take each case as it comes before us. And we look at all the different aspects of the case and then we make a decision. By setting a policy, you're cutting off the human aspect of a decision-making process. And this is a family area. This is what we deal with. And neighborhoods, you look at the neighborhood, you decide if the neighborhood wants it, not policy all the time. Policy, no, it's a guideline. And I can understand that. But we've never had this issue before with the county because we've never walked away from making decisions on an individual basis before. And setting this policy takes away that individuality.
Okay, here's the problem, though. There's only been one other case since we changed the policy that's come before the board. In fact, if you go back to the original vote, if you will, you and I voted against this, okay? But then we brought somebody in here. They came in, made an application. You said, hey, look, we just a month ago had approved the policy, and you know what if you're not going to keep with your policy, then why should we do it? It makes perfect sense. If we're going to be a government of consistency and fairness, if you're going to set a policy, then we go by the policy, okay? So I'm at this point where I didn't like it in the first place. I don't like it now, but however, this board has turned down somebody on this policy already, and I'm going to be consistent. I'm just telling you, I'm going to be consistent, okay? So I don't like the fact that this is the policy the way it's written. Maybe we need to go through some verification or some iteration of it. but I'm just letting you know, because I'm looking for the answers. I'm trying to understand, because I'm going to go against something I don't like, okay? But I'm not going to support the application simply because we've already shot somebody down over this, and I just can't see that being that kind of inconsistency in government. I just don't buy that.
The policy isn't about removing the human element or our ability to make decisions. It's about removing ambiguity, so when people apply for things like this and come before this board, they have an expectation of how it's going to go. If we voted different every time, how would anybody know whether or not they should even apply for an SUP? Because they don't know. Setting the policy, set the guidelines so they understand the likelihood of approval or not approval. So removing that ambiguity is hugely important.
And the other part of that is, just like Tom said, we set this policy because we didn't want to look like Virginia Beach and have Airbnbs popping up in everybody's neighborhood. And so we had to put some guidelines and some limits on that. And therefore, when you set a guideline, you need to stick to your guideline, or you're just going to have a free-for-all.
I think some of the guidelines you set, like the distance and how many you would have in a neighborhood or something like that, but I still believe that it's up to the neighborhood to decide what they want in their neighborhood. And that's why I was against it to begin with. And I think each case is an individual case, and I think we're able to make a decision on an individual basis.
Madam Chairman, I call the question.
Call the question. All right, roll call, please.
Motion to table.
Motion to table?
Yeah, I'd like to give the applicant a month to come back and consider, would they consider Mr. and Mrs. Haywood as the representatives for this home? And then we're dealing with the owner essentially having control of the home and control of who comes into it from an STR. And they are outside the 3,000-foot limit, but I think it's a fair trade-off in this case where they've owned the home for 75 years, and it is family.
Yes.
I'm going to have the same problem.
Yep.
You set the policy says the distance, they're outside the policy. Now, you want to table it and go find somebody that lives closer, that owns the property and wants to serve as a manager, that then they would be within the policy and there would be no issue here.
And then the huge problem is everybody that we've denied so far because of this, they're going to come back and go, why didn't I have that option as well? So that's I understand what you're shooting for, and I get it, but that's good. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to face the people that we turn down and go, yeah, we
turned down one.
Understood.
You want to withdraw?
I withdraw.
Okay, all right, so the question's been called.
Roll call, please.
The motion made by Mr. Shepherd is to adopt proposed resolution R25-82 to authorize a tourist home in an existing dwelling at 1024 Penniman Road. Mr. Drury.
No.
Mr. Roan.
No.
Mr. Shepherd.
With great reluctance, no.
Mr. Holroyd.
No.
Mrs. Knoll.
Yes.
Motion failed.
Thank you very much. The next on the agenda, item 5, is a 6-year secondary improvement program. And Caitlin, is this yours again? Thank you.
Hi, good evening again. So this is an annual joint public hearing between us and VDOT, which is why Rossi has very graciously stuck around. As you might recall from last year, every year we get an allocation of funding from the state for secondary road improvements.
It's an insult. Excuse me.
It's okay. So these, as you can see, which was, this is a reduction again from previous allocations. I do want to note that the budget overall in the 6-year improvement program has, to my understanding, shrunk a little bit. Some of that is because of some situations at the federal level, but this is the 6-year figure that we're looking at on average, so this is what we would see yearly, about $1,500. Over the past, I want to say almost decade, the secondary funds were kind of rolled over year to year to use to fund the Penniman Government Road intersection improvement. That project is currently under construction, and I believe it's slated to be complete, I believe by the end of the summer. That's what I saw on the portal. $250,000 of that were set aside. So fortunately, from what's been rolled over, there was a little bit left over, and that's going to be able to be put on the Victory Boulevard Capacity Enhancement Project to take care of some of that budget shortfall. So that's where the project is. So what we're really proposing here is with the allocation amount, it's a little too small to put on a project. So what we're proposing is rolling that money over this year and then using that to cover, which we're probably going to project, we're going to have some other fund problems with other projects, you know, for example, like, or where other revenue share projects where our balance isn't exactly 50-50 and bringing our costs down a little bit to make that more even. So really with your adoption of our 2586 resolution, that just, again, establishes the budget and then the construction budget in the document for our allocations this year. Rossi's here if you have any questions for VDOT and their 6-year improvement program or the secondary process.
Thank you. Any questions?
Real quick.
Yes,
so,
sure.
So this is in the VDOT secondary road program, right?
There's no money.
Okay, so the use of this funds has to be restricted to that program? In other words, we're not going to take and put it on something that's like a primary road or something like that that doesn't fit into this?
To my understanding, no. I don't believe that they can be rolled over onto like a Route 17 project. And Rossi, you can correct me, but I believe so, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So secondary roads, Lakeside Drive, Dare Road.
Yeah.
What's the definition of secondary road?
Numbers. Microphone, please. Microphone, please.
I apologize. So 600 and greater routes are a secondary system.
Okay.
So anything that has a route 600 or greater. But a lot of the projects include primary and secondary. So let's say Victory and Carey's Chapel or improvements to a secondary road and Victory. Make that where we can use secondary fundings on that piece of the project. So it's not just because the Route 17 is included in the project number that there aren't some secondary aspects to it. So there may be some eligibility. You have to look at each project to determine whether telefees, I mean, because this money really is telefee is what allocate, or the allocations to the secondary 6-year plan. And that is the fee that the utilities pay to use the right-of-way within the county.
Okay.
So that's what funds the secondary 6-year
So
plan.
you could put this against a utility effort?
No, this is a utility
Fee.
funding. It
Oh,
is
funded,
a fee.
okay.
So,
But it could be
so
used
we,
on any secondary road.
utilities pay.
Or sidewalks, for example.
Yes, you can use it for sidewalks, you can use it for road improvements, you can use it for all, all type of
that's
construction or
interesting. Okay.
improvements, yes, sir.
Okay.
So, and we're going to get a roughly 151K allocation for 6 years for a total of 907K. And we have the flexibility of banking that until, if we have a bigger project, to build the money up to pay for it.
We do, and like Kaylin said, there are some projects there, I think, that are smaller projects, but still may have some deficit with funding, some rev share projects that maybe also you want to look at down the road saying, hey, we need to gap fund this project to push it through.
Okay, all right, thank you.
My only question, Rossi, is why is VDOT taking our money back? Why are they trimming our funds down?
Well,
that's what I want to know. It should be going the other way. We need more, not less.
I certainly agree. It was a lot more robust before we had opportunities like smart scale and things like that. So, there's VTrans need on a secondary system. There's smart scale fundings that go to that as well. I just want to say that, it used to be a lot more robust.
Right.
Now it's sort of limited to just telefees and some rural addition money.
Yeah, I think we lost about 600 grand, wasn't it? Something like that.
Oh, yes,
One
thank
thing
you.
you may want to take back.
It was very noticeable, yes.
I'll open the public hearing. Does anybody care to speak to this subject? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. And what is the pleasure of the board?
Madam Chair, I would move Resolution 25-86.
Thank you. Roll call. I think we've had our discussions.
The motion made by Mr. Holroyd is to adopt proposed resolution R25-86 to approve a project priority listing for secondary road construction for the 6-year period FY 2026 through FY 2031, and to approve a construction budget for FY 26. Mr. Roan?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Holroyd?
Yes.
Mr. Drury?
Yes.
Mrs. Knoll?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. And now I'll call on Angela Weathershead for item number 6, which is the Hampton Road Sanitation District easement. Excuse me.
Hi, good evening. I'm Angie Weatherhead. I'm with HRSD. I'm a project manager. I think as most of you know, we've already got a project going on. It's located between Tab High School and the Hollymead neighborhood behind it. We're building a pressure reducing station and an offline storage facility. This request is in regards to that. We have a small easement that we're going to be asking for.
Anybody have any questions?
She's still working on
Yes,
it.
I can't see it.
So what I have in front of you in yellow is a temporary construction easement that you have already granted us. The red line going through that temporary construction easement is it's the location of a Verizon fiber optic line that we need to get to our pressure reducing station.
It currently exists?
No, it has not been built yet.
Okay.
But we do have the easement to build it,
Right.
the temporary construction easement. What you see in green there is a permanent access easement that we also have already been granted. And this is so that we can maintain our facilities. As you can see, there's this tiny little area here where the red line is not covered by that green permanent easement. So what that means, if there was ever anything to go wrong with that fiber optic line, we couldn't dig down to fix it. So what we're asking for today is this little lavender piece. This little lavender piece is the permanent access easement that we'll need in order to maintain that line should we ever experience any type of failure there. My understanding is the likelihood of that occurrence is pretty low. Those lines usually last for quite some time. But if it were to happen, we would need to be able to access that. Having communications to that pressure reducing station is imperative to our operations. This next one is just the actual easement. Would you like me to explain the location of
Does
this?
anybody have any questions?
Yeah, could you go back to that last slide, please?
The challenge is we didn't have this sheet in our.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
So
We only had the second sheet and it didn't make sense.
Okay.
So the red line is what Verizon needs to put down.
Yes.
And I guess to the right, as I'm looking at this picture, there's a junction box that it originates from?
Yes.
Okay.
So behind that fire station, there's a big tower there. It's next to that.
Okay. And then to the left of it, it runs to where? Where's it terminating?
It's going to go all the way down that road that we will be constructing. It's going to take a turn and it's going to go into the actual pressure reducing station, so the building that we're building.
That's not what I'm looking at here, though, right?
Correct. This is only showing that short.
Okay. So you have the rest of the easement you need for that turn into the pressure reducing station?
We have all of that.
Okay.
And a lot of it's actually on our property, so we don't need an easement for all of it.
I got you. Okay, all right. So you just need the blue from the junction box to where the permanent easement's already at? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
And who does that property belong to currently?
You.
Oh.
County of York, yes.
But she's here.
Yeah. Not you personally.
Yes,
I missed
okay.
that. It's county
Any
property.
more questions?
Not that it makes
If not-
much sense, but there's no way for them to take that around and come in the other way?
No, because this box right here exists already. This box currently exists. So either way, we don't have permanent access
So you'd have to have permanent access coming that way.
to the physical box that's located at the end of this red line.
So either way, you would have to have some other access.
Yes.
Okay, and that makes sense because it would be a straight line.
Yes.
I was just thinking if you could come in the other way, they could bend it around that corner, but it's not a big deal.
Okay, thank you, Angela. I'll open the public
Hey, Angie, I
hearing.
ma'am,
What? You have another
quick
question?
One question. So when's this project, when's the pressure reducing station be done?
Substantial completion is in March next year. Final
Another year.
completion of it will be in May. And if you guys haven't been out there recently, we've got your trails already cleared. It's
good.
going to be pretty nice. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. All right. I'll open the public hearing. Is there anybody who'd care to speak? If not, I'll close the public hearing, and what's the pleasure of the board?
This is C, so I'll move R 25-20.
Roll call.
The motion made by Mr. Shepherd is to adopt proposed resolution R 25-20, authorizing the county administrator to convey a permanent easement to HRSD for access and utility maintenance in support of its facility expansion under the EPA integrated plan. Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Holroyd?
Yes.
Mr. Drury?
Yes.
Mr. Roan?
Yes.
Mrs. Knoll?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Okay, item number 7 is a public hearing for the authorization of salaries for the Board of Supervisors. And Mr. Hill, I think you have a brief presentation.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. This is your annual resolution to approve salaries for the board, as you're required to do every year. The state code allows the board to adopt base flat salaries as set forth in state law. Mr. Bellamy has recommended that the board give itself a very small percentage increase in the base salaries as provided for by Virginia law, and the resolution that has been drafted does in fact provide for board salaries at the slightly increased rate per Virginia law.
Any comments by the board?
Yeah, my sense is after serving 2 decades on this board, and I keep thinking, why don't we get more people try to run for office? And as we experienced, that you don't get up here to make money.
No.
I mean, not even close, okay? But it would help defer activities that we provide. Most of us, I think if not all of us, actually do more than and spend more on the government than we do than that is being provided. So I know Neil Morgan, when he was the county administrator, tried to put it in automatic mode.
That couldn't do it.
And that didn't go. But I mean, I will advocate for that, just because I just see it that it's an opportunity to grow it enough to maybe warrant other people getting up here and running for office. And not much. I mean, not doing like what they do in Alexandria. What are they paying now? $130,000 up there, and you get an office and an aide. But their budget's like $3 billion. But anyway, I'm just saying for us, I don't have a problem supporting this. It leads to maybe an appreciation not only for the board, but it also says that it kind of helps out with defray some of the costs.
I thank you. I have an issue with that because here we are raising taxes on everybody else, and I don't think at this juncture that I would approve a raise. But that's my feeling on it. I think you don't get in this job for the money, and I don't think the small increase is going to make one whit of difference whether a person runs for office or not. And as I said before, we've raised taxes this year, and we're going to have to raise it again, I'm sure, next year. And I'm not about to raise our salary at this time. But I leave it up to the rest of you, whatever you think.
Well, I'll agree with you on this year. I don't think we're in a position where we should be raising our salaries. I appreciate the consideration, and I don't disagree with attracting other talent as well, but this is not how we should do that this year. I will recommend an amendment. We have to vote on this one way. If we vote no, then there's no salary. I would recommend an amendment where we change this to approve the annual salary at the rate that we're currently sitting at and not an increase.
Okay.
I believe that there is an R resolution prepared that would accomplish precisely that, if that is the pleasure of the board.
Okay.
Okay.
I think as others have said, you don't run for this office for the money. You run because you're principled and you have you believe talent to offer or issues that you want to raise to this board level. And for that reason, I'm where Mr. Rohn is. We've scrimped and saved every possible area to cut our costs this year. I would far rather see this money flow to employees.
Thank you. So would you like to make that?
Let me just,
Yes.
yeah, you know, my thought, and I raised this last time, I personally think it needs to be on a COLA every year. It's just automatic, and we're talking peanuts here. I get it. You guys voted for the raise of the taxes and all that, but we're talking about a few $100s. It's one thing if it was 50,000 or 100,000.
To me, it's
but
the
to
principle.
me, well, the principle is it should be on a COLA because everybody else gets that. And if we stay at this rate, just like Tom said, I know it's not about the money. I thought it was when I got voted in, but I quickly found out that it wasn't quite about the money. No, but the fact of the matter is you do want to create talent. You do want to bring people in, and I can just tell you, that's where I stand. I'd like to see it done on a yearly basis by COLA, and we're talking peanuts.
Okay.
It's my opinion.
So do we move the ordinance and vote against it, or do we move an R?
You can do it both ways, but probably the easiest way to do it would be to move the R number ordinance and vote your pleasure, and if that fails, then move the, move the main ordinance, and then if that fails, move the R ordinance.
Okay.
We have 2 votes.
Would somebody like to move it?
What is, okay, let me ask a question here. So this thing proposes pay raise, right? Or does it propose a COLA?
No, it's just one-time pay raise is what this proposes.
25
I think I agree with Wayne that, I was thinking that this was like the COLA thing, where you have be automatic. But the state's going to have us come back every
And
year and vote
that keeps
anyway.
us from having to argue about it every stinking year. It's crazy. It's the craziest thing I've seen.
Yeah, I mean.
Why are we sitting here arguing? Every single year, we're going to keep
Are you
arguing.
going to move it, Tom?
It's crazy.
Okay, if this keeps it, okay, so I'm going along with what you're saying. So if it keeps it at where it is now, I'm not trying to make a big thing out of it. I just voiced my opinion, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So if I said, yeah, y'all move it, what are we voting for it or against it?
You're voting for an establishment of the annual salary at the increased rate.
Right. Well, I vote
And
no.
then I think Mr. Hill is saying.
It's only a couple of $100.
Then Mr. Hill is saying
If we
that
vote no.
if vote no's, then we can move a second ordinance that's already prepared, which is basically 25-10R.
Well, why don't we just vote R and just put the numbers in as they are exist today?
You can do that.
Can I move 25-10R?
You can.
All right, so I'd like to move 25-10R.
Well, wait a second. I raised a point
First of all, you
here.
have to establish the R.
The R,
Is
all
it
that
means
does
the
is makes
salary
it
as it is
exactly what it
today.
is.
That's what
you're trying to do, right?
And that's what we established when Mr. Hill said that there's an R amendment, an R.
Okay, as long as we don't have to keep
that's
going
already,
over this.
that's already
Okay.
addresses that.
Got it.
The R would read, substitute in on the 25-10. 25-10R would read 9,000 per annum plus an additional salary of 1,200 for the vice chair and 1,800 for the chair, which I believe is what the current salary is.
Which is what is
That
today.
was-
The current,
that's-
okay,
that-
so
that's
that's,
the
y'all making an
current
R
rate.
do that.
And that would be what the R would read.
Yeah,
Okay.
all right.
I mean, you guys know we're talking about $1,350.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, my God.
Right.
We're going to
Would
burn
you
in
move it?
hell. I'm seeing it now.
Yeah, I know what we're talking about. And it's the right
This
thing to
is
do, not to
crazy
do it.
that we're even sitting here arguing about this every year.
I'm not going to have to go through a situation where the expenses and the reality of our financial situation will cost us to have to raise the property raise tax and then turn around and vote myself a pay raise. I'm not going to do it. I don't care what the dollar amount is. It's not right. I'm not going to do it. So that's why I want to move 25-10R.
I think we've had our discussion.
Roll call.
Roll
The
call.
motion made by Mr. Rohn is to adopt proposed ordinance number 25-10R to establish the salaries of the members of the York County Board of Supervisors effective July 1st, 2025. Mr. Holroyd.
Yes.
Mr. Drury,
Yes.
Mr. Roan,
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd,
Yes, I appreciate the
Mrs.
argument.
Mrs. Knoll.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. Okay, item number 8, public hearing, Child Development Resources lease agreement. Sherry, are you doing it?
Thank you. And Mr. Scott is also in the audience, too, if you have any questions as well. This is the lease agreement between CDR and the county. CDR leases space at the Griffin Yates Center for their early childhood center. It's for 1 year. They are building a new early childhood center a little bit further up the road, and they need approximately 1 more year in order to vacate Griffin Yates, is what they're doing. So we're extending the lease agreement for 1 year.
Any questions? I'll open the public hearing. Does anybody cares to speak to this issue? Aha.
Greetings.
Please state your name and address.
Paul Scott, Child Development Resources. I'm a resident of Williamsburg, but here to represent CDR. Just wanted to thank the county for the support and the time on the agenda. As Sherry mentioned, the project at 312 Faller Mill is, I was there today. We're at about a 56% completion rate. Anticipate moving in February 2026. So the item you're voting on is for the whole year, but we do appreciate that, the flexibility. If there's any delays at all, we'll certainly let the county know right away. But we're on track to move in February. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions?
And was your current target February?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Congratulations on that
Thank you.
progress.
Thank you.
Yes, very good.
Thank
No questions? I'll open the public hearing. Anybody want to speak? Seeing none, what's the pleasure of the board? Who's going to move it?
I'll move R25-64.
Roll call, please.
The motion made by Mr. Roan is to adopt proposed resolution R25-64 to authorize the execution of a lease with Child Development Resources, Inc. for early childhood services at the Griffin Yates Building from July 1st, 2025 to June 30th, 2026. Mr. Drury?
Yes.
Mr. Roan?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Holroyd?
Yes.
Mrs. Knoll?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. And now we move to the consent calendar. Number 9 is the approval of the minutes. 10 is the application of Dominion Energy, Virginia, the minor modification of a previous approved special use permit. Number 11 is fiscal agent memorandum of agreement with Colonial Behavioral Health. Number 12 is the request for refund for business tangible property tax. Let's see, number 13 is public safety building renovations. Number 14 is rental of traffic control items for events. 15 is request for refund for real estate taxes from disabled veterans. 16, request for refund for real estate taxes from disabled veterans. 17, request for refund of business license tax. 18 is request for refund of business license tax. 19 is request for refund for business license tax. Number 20 is the approval of mutual aid agreement between the county and the Peninsula Airport Commission. Number 21 is the procurement of mobile data terminals for public safety, the Sheriff's Office. 22 is the retirement recognition of Tamara Dillard. 23, retirement recognition of Diane Mason. And what is the pleasure of the board? Is there anyone that you'd like to have poll?
I would like to discuss number 10, please.
Number 10.
10 and
All right.
13.
Number 10 is the application of Dominion Energy.
And 13.
And 11, please.
Wait a minute, okay. 10,
10,
11,
11, 13.
and 13. Okay, who's going to discuss number 10?
Here she comes.
Let's see, minor benefit.
That's the solar
County
panels.
Administrator?
Mr. Anderson, would you mind? And I know Ms. Bright is here from Dominion Energy as well.
Yes.
So
Question?
I want to make sure I got my reading correct over all the documentation. So this was originally approved for a solar farm back in 2019, correct?
Yes.
And a special use permit was issued to allow that, correct?
Correct.
And because of the pandemic, there were delays, which we all understand. The General Assembly pushed out by 2 years, I think. They extended the special use permit by 2 years and then did it again, do another extension for July 1st of 2025.
Right, and that is ending this year.
That is ending
because
July
they
1st
did
of
not
this year,
re-adopt.
right.
Correct. So we're going to see a lot of these.
So in this case, though, 6 years ago, this was approved. And I'm only aware of the only thing that has happened is a submission of a site plan this past January, which was reviewed and sent back for comments in February, and we haven't received anything back since then, correct?
Correct. They've been dealing with road issues, but they should have that finalized soon, very
Okay.
soon.
So there weren't road issues 6 years ago?
There probably were, but I mean, you know, the project changed hands different times, and now Dominion has it, and they're ready to move forward.
So the request is for another 2-year extension. So in 2 years, the expectation is they're going to build a solar farm, or they're going to break ground to show substantial progress in it as per the definition of maintaining the special use permit?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
All right, so why am I to believe that's going to happen in 2 years when it hasn't happened in 6 years?
Right.
So here, and Mr. Stan, let me just.
Sure.
My frustration here is, this is a reoccurring frustration, that this board will get petitioned on a regular basis for proposals to approve. We eventually will decide to approve those things based upon the benefit it brings to the residents of York County, and then nothing happens. Our expectation is that when we approve something for the benefit of York County and its residents, that thing happens then, not 6 years from now. And I don't really have a lot of confidence that if it's been extended twice, we're going to extend it again, that in 2 years, a solar farm is going to magically start popping up over there. So what reassurance do I have if we approve this, that the progress we're going to be made that was decided 6 years ago is going to happen in 8 years?
I can't say your logic is faulty. It happens quite frequently where you all approve something and it either doesn't happen, or maybe it changes hands and things get juggled around. That's kind of the situation here, where they had someone who wanted to do it, and then things just kind of fell apart. COVID happened, you know, extenuating circumstances in this situation. But I'm very confident that Dominion Energy has it now, and they are ready to move forward. Like you said, they have submitted a site plan. There were not a huge amount of comments that we gave them, so I feel very confident that they are going to turn that right around within the next month or so, if this is approved, so that they can start construction out there within the year.
All right. Would Dominion Power like to give us some feedback on their confidence on proceeding with this?
Yeah, I'd like to hear that as well.
Good evening. Thank you for the time. We were actually, as Mr. Scott mentioned, there's been some issues on the site, and we are working to get them finalized. Actually, we're very close. We actually only wanted a year because we're that close, but apparently the standard is 2 years to ask for the extension. We anticipate that we can, if everything gets finalized, that we'll hit the ground running and have this done before July 1st. But we wanted to make sure that the issues that we're having right now will be hammered out before July 1st. If not, we didn't want to rush to the Board of Supervisors and say, hey, we need an extension. We wanted to be proactive with the extension.
Right.
But once this is, the site plan has already been submitted, once this is all hammered out, we are going to hit the ground running with the construction.
And if you could take back to your leadership and your corporate real estate and your engineering team, that it is expectation of this board that this extension, things will get done and we will see progress on that site as promised and as agreed to 6 years
Absolutely.
ago. Thank you.
We anticipate this to be done by in the first quarter 2026.
Okay, thank you.
Ms. Bright, when did Dominion take over this project?
That I don't know when we took it over. I would have to get that information.
I just wondered how
to
many
you.
years you've been sitting on the project. It's not obvious to me from the write-up.
Has it been a year? Has it been 2 years? Did you give me any indication of that?
I don't know when we took it over, but I can definitely get that information for you.
Yeah,
Thank you very much.
Madam Chair.
It was like,
Yes?
Stephen, I thought you were reading off my notes. I'm like,
No,
what
I'm
in the
looking
world? Yeah, I'm just conflicted that this thing has taken 6 years to get something submitted already on an extension. And I get COVID, and of course, I'd be curious to see how long, Dominion has had it. But to just presented a site plan in this year, after almost 6 years, it's just crazy to me that we
Right.
haven't done something prior to now, maybe a year ago. We're way through COVID, so I don't think that's an excuse, and I'm just wondering why it's taking so long to get this public road access, when if you guys knew that a long time ago, why wasn't that hammered out?
Right.
It's conflicting to me. But what I'd like to see is, if we do the extension, I'd like to see an update in about 3 months
Okay.
from Dominion Power. I don't know if we can, I'll ask the CA here, but I would like to have a 3-month update to let us know where you guys are at, so we can ask those same questions.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank
Chair.
you.
Thank
Do you
you.
have something, Tom?
Yeah, I want to kind of maybe educate the board a little bit on these
Please.
things, okay? And this is not really directed to you or anything, but if you want to speak, add to it. You know, so what difference does it make? Other than it being a pain in the butt for the staff to kind of have to come back up and us having to listen to it every 2 years, what difference does it make?
None.
Now, there could be an argument, well, you know, we've elbowed another opportunity out of the way, but the people, there's been no, unless that issue is presented to us, what difference does it make? Now, there are neighborhoods in your county, okay, that even before I showed up, way before I showed up, they had already been platted for 30 years before a house was even built on it. Nothing happened to the property. It sat there. And the person didn't, there was no sale of the property. The developer, as you've seen in many cases, will sit on property, and businesses will just own it, let it sit there. Yes, we could be losing opportunities for making money in the immediate point, but the fact is we don't own land. This particular case, this land belongs to RIFA, if I'm not mistaken, all right? And that's a regional board now. That's a whole somebody else. So what difference does it make? If the applicant has to come to us, the only reason they're coming to us is because of the 2 years. It's something we've put down there. Now, we've done that in the past. I know we talked about it because we wanted to review to see if anything in the environment, or whether it be an economical environment or the natural habitat or anything has changed in policy. What difference does it make? It makes no difference. Now, we can sit there and want to speed it up, but what are you going to do? You're going to say, no, you can't do it, then what? I mean, but think about that. Then what?
Well, to answer your question, what difference does it make? In 2019, when this was approved, I'm assuming that it was approved because it was going to bring some benefit to York County.
It was going to bring not only to York County, but to the other agencies that participated in RIFA.
All right, so what the difference it makes is York County has not seen the benefit in 6 years. York County should see that benefit sooner.
Okay, but...
So that's the difference that it makes. It was approved because it was beneficial to York County, and because it hasn't happened yet, York County hasn't seen the benefit. That's the difference that it makes.
So my question would be then, so we say no, do you think you're going to see a benefit? You think you're going to see somebody rush out here and take over a couple hundred acres? No,
Well,
I guarantee you it ain't going to happen.
No,
okay?
but the point is, I think I just heard that you hope to be done, tell me
First
again,
quarter
Bob,
2026.
so that means panels are up generating electricity. So,
That's what we anticipate, yes.
so when in 2026 again?
First quarter, the end of the first quarter of
So
2026.
in 9 months.
Okay, great.
could be
She's
done.
telling you that,
So-
but what happens if she comes back 2 years from now and he goes, no? You may not even be on the board.
And then the next board will be wondering, why has it been 8 years?
That's the whole point, guys.
Right,
Some of
but-
these things, we can want them, we don't control the property. We control the
control
zoning,
it.
but we don't control the property, all right? And so we got to keep in mind, I feel like we come up here, you're kind of being threatened. You're not.
Oh, no.
Okay? I mean, the point is, there's a frustration that there was some excitement. I mean, I guarantee you, in the next 6 years or so, we're going to see some pretty big things happen within the next 6 years. That's going to happen to property around us. And we're going to get all excited about it. But what happens if it doesn't happen? Okay? And so I just wanted to, there's some expectations here about this. That we have a history of extending these things a lot. And unless we're going to say, no, you're dead meat if you show up here and ask for another one, I don't think that's going to happen, but, I mean, other than that, I don't know what we're getting excited about.
I think that's the point I'm making, Tom, that we have them come back in 3 months and give us an update. I think there
No,
needs
I
to be
think we'll
some
just
accountability
hold it
of some progress moving forward.
Well, it'd be nice to know. I
Yeah,
mean, sure,
absolutely.
it'd just be
And I
nice to know.
think
You
it's
send us
part
a-
of the accountability.
Just send us an email, give us an
Okay.
update to staff.
An email will be fine. Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
No, email's
Appreciate
not
it.
going to be fine,
And the
sorry.
next one we have, someone pulled, is the Fiscal Agency Memorandum of Agreement with Colonial Behavioral Health. Who asked for
Yeah,
that one?
Yes, ma'am. Ms.
Okay.
Goodwin?
Good evening. So this item is just formalizing our agreement with Colonial Behavioral Health. We have been the fiscal agent for this agency since 1990, but we never had formalized what the responsibilities were of each of the parties since that fiscal agency began. And so what we've had an opportunity to do is have lots of meetings with Mr. Bellamy, the chair of Colonial Behavioral Health's board, Mr. Ryan Ash, and then, of course, David Coe, the executive director, and talk about what the expectations are on both sides. We've documented that in a memorandum of understanding with the help of the county attorney. I've visited the board meetings, and we've talked through those items, and they're amenable to the agreement, which basically just talks about the services we provide. We do payroll for them, we do accounts payable, and then what our expectations on the information that they give us. And some of the rules around that, if you will. So that was the purpose of the MOU.
So, Ms. Goodwin, I raised the question. It's really around, are they acting the way we would expect them to act? Are we doing any sort of auditing? What's our responsibility? How do we ensure that they are doing as they're supposed to do?
That's a
I
great-
don't see that in here.
Well, and I'm not sure if the memorandum was attached, but there's a couple things. The memorandum does speak to an audit required, that they're required to do an audit and give it to us by a certain time each year. That's also in the state code. So that had been happening, but there just needed to be some formalization of some of the other information that we need to just ensure that the transactions are all running through our accounting system. And so we've done that.
So as we sit today, we believe that they are in full compliance.
Yes, and they're continuing to make some changes that we've recommended. I was at their board meeting, executive board meeting today, right before this meeting, and they're working through, they're making some changes to their board policies. They are going through an audit engagement with our audit firm just to review last year's records, just one additional look at some testing and things like that. So they've complied with everything that we've requested of them, so.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. If there aren't any more questions, will someone move the consent calendar, please?
13 was the other one.
What? Did you?
One more.
Which one?
Did you-
Mr. Fuller?
Oh, I'm sorry. 13, Public Safety Buildings. I haven't checked here.
Yeah, honestly, I just didn't do my homework, Brian. I wanted to get you up here and get you nervous in front of the podium. Yeah. Don't trip over yourself.
Good evening.
Yeah. Now, only question I had was, the contract amount came in at $830,404. What's the CIP on that? What's the limit on the CIP?
It's in the CIP. This is a multi-phase project.
Yeah, I know, but I'm saying that fits the CIP number?
Yes, it's
Okay.
within budget.
Okay, I didn't get to check that before I came, so I just made a note that I'd ask that question. Kind of figured it would be, but I'm a little ADD on that, so.
That's okay. Anything
Okay,
else?
thank you, that's all I have.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak.
Yes. By the way, you look good. You look good up there.
You got FaceTime. All right. Someone like to move the consent calendar, please?
I move the calendar.
Roll call.
The motion made by Mr. Shepherd is to approve the consent calendar as submitted. Mr. Roan?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Holroyd?
Yes.
Mr. Drury?
Yes.
Mrs. Knoll?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. And we have new business, that's number 24, the sponsorship of a zoning ordinance text amendment to allow indoor firing ranges in the Resource Conservation Zoning District. Who is handling that? Thank you.
So I would like to turn it over to Mr. Roan. No. We were asked by Mr. Roan to put together a sponsorship memo, or a sponsorship, can't talk tonight, resolution for you all tonight to review to possibly add indoor firing ranges to the Resource Conservation Zoning District as a special use permit. So this resolution of sponsorship would say to us as staff, go do the research on it, take it for a public hearing before the Planning Commission, and then again, a public hearing before the Board of Supervisors. So this is just a sponsorship by you as the board to say, go and do, staff.
Go do, okay. That's proposed resolution R 25-88. Would someone like to move that? A public hearing?
Can we, no, we're going to move it. Go ahead, but I want to discuss something.
Yeah,
Let's
so
discuss it.
so let me go, I'll go ahead and move R 25-88 so we can get into discussion.
So it's moved.
Yep, it's
It's
moved.
been moved.
We're not voting, we're going to talk.
We're going to discuss now.
Discussion. All right, who wants to say something?
So my concern is that, okay, we're putting this, we're putting a range now, weapons range in a resource conservation area. I mean, that's what we're proposing to address this. I'm wondering, my concern is a resource conservation area could be things like schools, could be parks. There's a lot of stuff. It's basically one house per 5 acres. So I don't want to be just opening the door for weapons ranges. Okay? So I mean, I want to somehow convey that concern into this thing to the Planning Commission when they start their deliberation. I don't know how we do that.
And a couple of things to kind of address that. This is going to be pretty specific. One, indoor firing range, so it's just not wide open. And two, it's going to require a special use permit, so not by right. So it just provides the possibility of where the public will have a chance to speak to it, and the Planning Commission and the board will have a chance to deliberate and agree or disagree to it if it should be proposed. So
I know
again,
it's in the process.
It's pretty narrow in that, and this is the first step. And in this particular case, the driver behind this is going to be able to address a concern, and at the end of the day, it's going to be a rare, actual win-win situation if we can get to the point where it can be adopted and things move forward.
Right, and I hear everything you're saying and agree with what you're saying, and I fully understand it. I just don't want us to end up like we had in District 1 up there, where a gentleman, because he could discharge his weapon, decided to have a weapons range on his property, but it wasn't inside, he was just firing on his property. Now, I have a farm that I don't own, but it's just in my district, and occasionally a round goes off over there. Who knows where that round goes, but you know, that then causes concern because they call the sheriff's department and whatnot. So my concern here is that we're not just opening up District 5 to, you know, RC range development, and there's going to be some, like, this is a very focused thing that's already tied basically to a gun club. Basically, I mean, that's what it is. It's tied to a gun club. So I just wanted to somehow convey that concern to our Planning Commission.
Yeah, and it's got to go through the Planning Commission. It's got to go through, you know, the whole process. So that concern will probably be raised on several occasions. But I think that's going to be addressed. This is just setting them in the path to think through this and try to figure out if it's good or if it's bad, and then they'll bring it back to us once the Planning Commission has done all the research and voted on it.
Right. But it provides an opportunity to solve a neighborhood issue without which we can't solve that problem. This gives us the ability to start moving in that direction.
And it looks like it would be an SUP, so it would have to come before the board.
Okay, we've had enough questions. Should I ask you all for a motion to approve resolution?
I already made the motion.
We already approved. I'm just tired.
You can call the question now.
Call the question. Roll call, please.
The motion made by Mr. Roan is to adopt proposed resolution R 25-88 to sponsor an application to consider an amendment to Chapter 24.1 zoning of the York County Code to allow indoor firing ranges within the Resource Conservation District by special use permit. Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mr. Holroyd?
Yes.
Mr. Drury?
Yes.
Mr. Roan?
Yes.
Mrs. Knoll?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay. And now, Mr. Holroyd, will you take us to close meeting?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have two closed meeting motions. First is personnel in accordance with Section 2.23711AI of the Code of Virginia. I move that the Board of Supervisors convene in closed meeting to consider a personnel matter involving the appointment of individuals to boards and commissions. The second one, a legal matter in accordance with Section 2.23711A7 of the Code of Virginia. I move that the Board of Supervisors convene in closed meeting to consult with legal counsel, consultants, and/or staff on a matter of probable litigation in which the county may become involved.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Holroyd?
Yes.
Mr. Drury?
Yes.
Mr. Roan?
Yes.
Mr. Shepherd?
Yes.
Mrs. Knoll?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you very much. This meeting is adjourned to a closed session, but the next regular meeting for the Board of Supervisors will be held at 6 p.m. on June 3rd, 2025 in the East Room at York Hall. Thank you all for coming.